There's no need to eat the same as before. The woman shook her head and said, How can I do that? Although I don't know kung fu, I also know that you martial artists have to keep up with nutrition. Although this place can't be compared to home, I can't let you starve. The woman was right. What martial artists needed the most was nutrition. If they couldn't even stand up every day, how could they practice martial arts? For example, Wang Yu, as a peerless genius in the family, had professional nutritionists and masseuses when he practiced martial arts. Compared to now, the expenses were like heaven and earth. Wang Yu sighed and said, Forget it. Just let me be a completely ordinary person. If this goes on, it'll be too hard on you. I can't do anything for this family. Seeing his wife still wearing autumn clothes in the middle of winter, Wang Yu felt a heartache for no reason. The woman smiled and put down her bowl and chopstick. She touched Wang Yu's cheek and said, Compared to what you gave up for me, this is nothing. I'll just have another part-time job. I found a part-time job as a waiter at a restaurant near the neighborhood. I can earn an extra 80 yuan a day, and I also take care of meals. Wang Yu's eyes were welling with tears, but he held them back. After the meal, the woman cleared the table, while Wang Yu quietly practiced his piling on the balcony. The sound of pring-pring was endless. After tidying up everything, the woman came to the balcony and said to Wang Yu, Hubby, if you're bored, go out for a walk. I'm not bored. I'm used to being a homebody. Oh right, our company recently released a new game. It's very popular. Do you want to play it? I'll get you a device. The woman's eyes suddenly lit up. Wang Yu turned his head and said, Game? Device? It's quite expensive. The woman said, It's only a few thousand yuan. I'm not playing. With that said, Wang Yu continued practicing. Sigh. The woman sighed and said, I'm going to work. Remember to put away the quilts on the balcony in the afternoon. There's a tenant coming to look at the house around 4 o'clock. Got it. After the woman left, Wang Yu picked up his coat, put on his shoes, and walked to the talent market. I'm already like this, and I'm still playing games. Dear, are you going to raise me like a son? Wang Yu laughed bitterly and muttered to himself. The woman was Mu Zixian, Wang Yu's wife. She worked as a customer service officer at Longting Gaming Company and earned 5 or 6,000 yuan a month. In this day and age, 5 or 6,000 yuan was at most enough to feed and clothe. For a person like Wang Yu, 5 or 6,000 yuan was more than enough to feed him. Fortunately, the two of them had a house here. Otherwise, the two of them would have to sleep on the street. As a matter of fact, because of their tight living conditions, they had to rent out the other 2 bedrooms. That way they could be more comfortable. The talent market was bustling, and it was indeed worthy of the word market. There were job seekers everywhere, holding a small sign with their specialties and characteristics written on it, asking to be taken away. Wang Yu was helpless. Because he had been practicing martial arts since he was a child. He was a home tutor, so he did not have a degree. Because of his martial arts practice, he even had to let others take care of his basic food and daily life. Other than being able to eat a lot, he had no other skills, let alone any specialties. Wang Yu did not dare to write that his specialty was martial arts on the sign, afraid that he would be mocked again. This kind of mockery was very harsh, and it always made Wang Yu feel that others were not mocking him, but martial arts. Wang Yu had been proud of martial arts since he was a child, and he was proud of martial arts. He could not bear to see what he loved the most being trampled on by others. After squatting by the roadside for an hour, no one even looked at Wang Yu. Wang Yu, who had waited bitterly to no avail, felt thirsty. He walked out of the talent market and came to a stall to buy a bottle of water. At that moment, he suddenly remembered that the last 2 yuan in his wallet had been used to take the bus in the morning. He did not know where to put his hand that was holding the wallet. When the stall owner saw him like this, his face was filled with disgust, and he fiercely snatched the water back. If you don't have money, then you can drink it. The wallet fell to the ground, and a few bright red bills fell out. Wang Yu's tears finally flowed out. These few hundred yuan should have been given to him by his wife. She was afraid that his pride would be too strong, so she secretly stuffed it into his wallet. Such a good wife, not only could he not give her the happiness she deserved, but he had also become her burden. As a man, he was such a failure. Someone stole my wallet. Help me stop him. Chapter 2. Wang Yu looked back and saw a beautiful girl shouting. The girl was wearing a long white down jacket and white boot. Her facial features were very delicate. At this moment, the girl was desperately chasing after a short person in front of her. Her hair was like water as it fluttered in the wind. Wang Yu looked at Wang Yu. The short man had triangular eyes and messy hair. He held a lady's purse in his hand and ran quickly in Wang Yu's direction. When he saw Wang Yu stand up and block his way, he quickly pulled out a dagger from his waist. Get out of the way if you don't want to die. Mind your own business. Wang Yu stared at the short man and had no intention of giving way. Seeing that the girl was about to catch up, the short man became anxious and raised his knife to stab. Wang Yu frowned and suddenly extended his right hand. Before the short man could react, he had already grabbed the short man's wrist. Then, Wang Yu pulled and pulled, throwing the short man to the ground. He lifted his left foot and kicked away the dagger in the short man's hand. Then, he stepped on the back of the short man's head. The whole process took less than 3 seconds, and the short man lost the ability to fight. At that moment, the girl ran to the two of them and Wang Yu, panting. The girl picked up the purse from the ground and looked at it. She said to Jiang Fan gratefully, "Big brother, thank you so much. What's your name?" "Yes." Wang Yu looked at the girl and nodded slightly. He turned to the beverage stall owner and said, "Call the police." Oh, I got it." The beverage stall owner was stunned. When he heard Jiang Fan's words, he quickly nodded and took out his phone to make a call. The girl took out a stack of money from her purse and counted it. She handed it to Wang Yu and said, "Big brother, if it weren't for you, I would have lost all the money I had to buy the equipment this afternoon. I have nothing to thank you for. Please keep this money." Wang Yu looked at the girl again and did not say anything. As if he suddenly thought of something, he turned and left quickly. All that was left was the owner of the beverage stall and the girl, who was at a loss of what to do. After leaving the beverage stall, Wang Yu ran home. The girl's words reminded Wang Yu that he had to collect the quilts in the afternoon. It was only 3 o'clock when he ran all the way home. Wang Yu let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, he didn't waste any time. After putting the quilt back into the bedroom, Wang Yu went back to the balcony to do some piling. Bang, 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 bang. The sounds echoed rhythmically in the empty house. At around 4 o'clock, the door to the living room rang. The tenant had come to view the apartment. Wang Yu stopped punching and kicking. He picked up a towel to wipe his sweat and went to the living room. The first to enter was Mu Zixian. Come in, come in. My house is quite big, and it's just me and my husband, so I want to rent out the other 2 rooms. Mu Zixian was carrying a big bag of meat and vegetables in her hands. She placed the things in her hands on the table and called out to the people behind her. A voice that Wang Yu was very familiar with came from behind Mu Zixian. What? There's a man? We're all girls. Isn't it inconvenient? Then, a girl wearing a white down jacket walked in. There's nothing inconvenient about it. My husband is a homebody and doesn't usually go out. At this moment, Mu Zixian saw Wang Yu. She smiled and pointed at Wang Yu. Here, my husband, Wang Yu. Don't worry, there's no problem with his character. Hello. Wang Yu greeted the girl stiffly. At this moment, Wang Yu was only wearing a small black singlet. His upper body was basically half naked. His broad shoulders and back, his muscles were like dragons, and his outline was distinct. Coupled with his squarish face, sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes, he looked majestic and very manly. The girl looked in the direction that Mu Zixian was pointing at and saw Wang Yu. She was instantly stunned. Isn't this the man I met at the talent market? It's really fate. I didn't expect that the apartment I want to rent is his. This man is so manly. Seeing the girl staring at him, Wang Yu suddenly remembered his attire. His face turned red. He lowered his head and quickly walked into the bedroom, closing the door behind him. The girl came back to her senses and smiled awkwardly. Then, she said to Mu Zixian, "The location of this apartment is not bad. I'll rent it." As she said that, the girl took out a thick stack of money from her bag. "This is a year's rent." "A year." Mu Zixian took the money. She was a little flattered. Originally, they agreed to rent it for half a year. She didn't expect to rent it for a year. Didn't she just say that it was inconvenient to have a man? And, if the studio is good, it's possible to renew the lease next year. The rent is negotiable. The girl nodded. Mu Zixian tried her best to hide the surprise in her heart. "Okay, let's sign the contract now." After signing the contract, the girl left. After the girl left, Wang Yu walked out of the bedroom. He helped Mu Zixian stuff meat and vegetables into the fridge. He asked Mu Zixian, "Wife, what does this girl do?" Mu Zixian said, "I think it's some studio." "Studio? What's that?" Wang Yu asked curiously. He had been raised as a treasure by his family since he was young. He rarely left the house and had little contact with the outside world. He had never come into contact with something like a studio. "It's to earn money by playing games," Mu Zixian said without hesitation. As a game customer service worker, she was no stranger to studios. Wang Yu didn't really understand. Earning money by playing games seemed like a fantasy to him. After tidying up the bedroom, Mu Zixian said to Wang Yu, "I'm going to the dining room to help. Later, when the girl moves, you help carry it. Don't just stand there and watch." "And I know." Wang Yu sweated and thought, "I'm not a fool. I know the ways of the world." In the evening, the girl in the white down jacket came back. Behind her were 3 girls. The 3 girls were also very good-looking. They didn't lose to the girl in the white down jacket at all. The 4 of them chatted and laughed. Each of them carried a small box in their hand. Seeing Wang Yu, the 3 of them didn't stand on ceremony and greeted, "Hello, Mr. Landlord." Hello." Wang Yu blushed again. "Do you need any help?" The girl in the white down jacket said, "I don't have much luggage. There's no need to trouble Brother Yu." "Oh," Wang Yu responded and returned to the bedroom. Seeing Wang Yu's silly and cute look, the 3 girls laughed. "Big sister, is this what you call a handsome man?" "Ha. Ha, he looks all right. Why is he so silly?" Yeah. He was shy just now. Did you see that?" "Ha. Stop fooling around. Hurry up and pack. We still have work tomorrow." After a while, the girls had finished packing. There was a knock on the door of Wang Yu's bedroom. Wang Yu opened the door. It was the girl in the white down jacket. "What's the matter?" Wang Yu asked curiously. The girl in the white down jacket said, "Brother Yu, we are really fated. I haven't thanked you for this afternoon. Let me treat you to dinner, okay?" Wang Yu smiled and said, "There's no need. It's just a small matter. I don't like to go out either." Having said that, Wang Yu's stomach betrayed him. It was already night time. Mu Zixian had gone to the restaurant to help, so she would be back very late. Wang Yu didn't know how to cook, so he couldn't stand it anymore. The girl in the white down jacket smiled and said, "Brother Yu, since we are living together, we are a family. You don't have to be polite with us. Sister-in-law isn't at home. You must be hungry. We can order takeout to eat. It's very convenient." This. Wang Yu was still hesitant. The girl in the white down jacket was a little unhappy. "Brother Yu, are you looking down on us?" Wang Yu hurriedly waved his hand. "No, absolutely not. Then why are you hesitating to have dinner together?" "All right, but I don't drink." Wang Yu couldn't refuse, so he could only say it. After some introductions, Wang Yu found out that the girl in the white down jacket was called Li Shui, and the other 3 girls were her employees. The one with big eyes was called Xiao Yi, the one with a sharp chin was called Meng Meng, and the very outgoing one was called Molly. They were a gold farming studio, and they were currently planning to set up shop in a game called Rebirth. Wang Yu had also heard of Rebirth. It was the most popular simulation game from Mu Zixian's company. The server had only been open for 3 days, but it was full every day. Mu Zixian often mentioned it. You can earn money playing games? Wang Yu threw out his doubts. Without waiting for Li Shui to answer, Molly smiled and said, "Of course. Professional gamers have been around for many years. Don't tell me you haven't even heard of professional gamers?" "No." Wang Yu answered honestly. "Oh my God! What a country bumpkin! Brother Yu, what do you do for a living?" Molly exclaimed exaggeratedly as she touched her forehead and asked. The other 3 also showed a curious look. "I don't have a job." Wang Yu was embarrassed. Although he did not socialize much, he knew that being supported by a wife was not something to be proud of. Molly laughed and said, "Oh, a pretty boy. Haha. Don't worry, I won't discriminate against you. Actually, I also want to find someone to support me." This. Wang Yu's face showed an awkward expression. Seeing Wang Yu's expression, Li Shui's face sank and she reprimanded, "Li Shui, watch your words." "Oh." Molly quickly lowered her head. Li Shui said, "Brother Yu, she's just joking. The economy is not good now, and it's normal to lose your job. If you can't find a job, you can work with us." As the boss, Li Shui's eyes were very sharp. She could naturally see that Wang Yu was not the kind of person that Molly described. This afternoon, she met Wang Yu at the entrance of the talent market. Wang Yu was probably looking for a job. "Work with you? Can I?" Wang Yu was a little absent-minded. Not to mention games, he did not even know how to use a computer, other than practicing martial arts, let alone playing games. Li Shui smiled and said, "Of course you can. This game is very simple. Even us girls can play it, why can't you? Rebirth is a game that simulates everything. It's similar to our daily lives. Moreover, this game has a lot of business opportunities. It will be easy to make money in the next few years." "Is that so?" Wang Yu was a little tempted. As a man, being unable to find a job for 2 consecutive months had long worn away his pride. As long as it was not against morality, as long as it was profitable, Wang Yu was willing to do it. He did not want to rely on his wife for the rest of his life. "Of course, although our studio is not very famous in the industry, earning 5,000 or 6,000 a month is easy," Li Shui said. Wang Yu said happily, "All right. I'll try, but I don't have the equipment." Chapter 3. The next morning, Li Shui knocked on the door of Wang Yu and his wife's bedroom and delivered a small box. "This is the equipment?" Wang Yu opened the box and took out something that looked like a hat. Li Shui said, "Yes, just connect the network cable and power, and press the switch. The equipment will be directly connected to the cloud system. It's very convenient." "Interesting." Wang Yu smiled and returned to the bedroom with the equipment. Back in the bedroom, Wang Yu told Mu Zixian about joining the gold farming studio. After Mu Zixian learned about it, she was very supportive of Wang Yu's decision. In fact, Mu Zixian did not expect Wang Yu to earn much money. She was afraid that Wang Yu would be bored at home. These few days, Wang Yu was a little absent-minded. Mu Zixian was worried, so she already had the idea of letting Wang Yu play games, but Wang Yu rejected it. Now that Wang Yu had joined the studio, it did not matter if it earned money or not. The key was to let Wang Yu relax. Mu Zixian tugged at Wang Yu and taught him, "Hubby, let me tell you. After entering the game, go to the village chief to get a mission. The village chief is the one with an exclamation mark above his head. The one with a question mark means that the mission has been completed." Wang Yu waved his hand and smiled bitterly. "Wife, I'm also a young man. When I was young, I saw my brother play online games. I know the basics. Don't always treat me as someone from another world, okay?" After finding a job, Wang Yu's mood was much better, and he became more talkative. Mu Zixian smiled and pinched Wang Yu's face. Oh, that's right? Haha, then try it first. If there's anything you don't understand, just ask me. As a game customer service, Mu Zixian's understanding of the game was definitely more professional than Li Shui. Wang Yu nodded and connected the power to the equipment. With a flash of light, Wang Yu entered the game. At this moment, an ancient divine hall appeared in front of Wang Yu. The walls around the divine hall were extremely dilapidated, and there was a huge altar in the center of the divine hall. On the altar there were 7 statues. Ding! Please choose your profession. A very neutral voice rang in Wang Yu's ears. Wang Yu zoomed in and looked at the 7 statues one by one. The 7 statues represented the 7 classes in the game. King of Melee Combat, Warrior. Has decent physical attack and defense. The representative of Destruction. Mages possess destructive power that does not match their frail physique. God's Blessing. Cleric, the most reliable teammate on the battlefield. Reaper walking in the dark. Thief, speed and explosive power created this terrifying existence. Glory of the Holy Light. Knight, a body like an iron wall, defending the glory of God. Elusive Sniper. Archer, don't ever let the enemy see your figure. Mysterious Inheritor. Grandmaster of Combat, fists and kicks are their weapons. After looking at the profession introduction, Wang Yu pointed at the last statue without hesitation and said, I choose Grandmaster of Combat. Confirm profession, Grandmaster of Combat. Confirm. Please enter your name. Fairy Feather. As someone who had difficulty naming things, Wang Yu thought about this name the whole night. Sorry, this name has already been registered. Wang Yu was stunned. There was actually someone who registered such a tongue-twisting name. This game really had a scary number of people. After thinking for a while, Wang Yu simply said, Iron Ox. This was Wang Yu's nickname. Because he was born as strong as an ox, his father gave him this name. The game name can be used. Character generation, I wish you a happy game. With another flash of white light, Wang Yu was transported to a small village. The village square was filled with people. In the middle of the square stood a white-haired old man with a big exclamation mark on his forehead. This old man should be the village head. Next was the game instructions. Following the system's instructions, Wang Yu walked around in a circle and finally opened his attributes panel. Character attributes, ID, Iron Ox Grandmaster of Combat, level, LV 1 HP, 124 by 30 MP, 93 by 30 strength, 5 vitality, 4 spirit, 3 intelligence, 3 agility, 5 attack, 2-7 magic, 1-3 physical defense, 2-5 magic defense, 1-3 equipment, tattered coarse clothing defense, 1-1 tattered boxing glove attack, 1-2 skill. Side kick LV1. Grandmaster of Combat's powerful kick deals 120% of physical attack damage and sends the user flying. Consumes MP 30. The game was very fair. All professions started with 20 points of attribute. Grandmaster of Combat was only slightly above average. Closing the attributes panel, Wang Yu waved his fist and couldn't help but feel depressed. What kind of lousy attributes are these? My strength and speed are completely lacking. Since he was already here, he might as well make the best of it. Wang Yu sighed and followed the crowd, squeezing his way towards the village head. This squeezing made Wang Yu even more depressed. He was 185 meters tall and had a muscular build, but he couldn't even squeeze past a little girl. The little girl was a knight, so her vitality and strength were higher than a Grandmaster of Combat. This didn't make sense at all. Luckily, all newbies below level 10 had the system's protection. Otherwise, with Wang Yu's vitality, he wouldn't even be able to squeeze past the village head. Excuse me, how can I help you? Arriving in front of the village head, Wang Yu asked very politely. The village head smiled and said, Iron Ox, you're here. Recently, the village has been plagued by stray dogs. Can you help me kill 10 stray dogs? System notification. Accept the quest, plagued by stray dogs. A notification suddenly appeared in front of Wang Yu. Wang Yu casually clicked, accept. Of course he accepted. Otherwise, why would he risk being squeezed to death to come here? Quest notification. Kill rabid stray dogs 0 out of 10. After accepting the quest, Wang Yu squeezed his way through the crowd and ran out of the village. Outside the village, Wang Yu was dumbfounded. Did village chief's old eyes get blurry? How was this a rabid stray dogs? It was practically overcrowded. The entire mountain and plains were filled with players in coarse clothing, wandering around like zombies. When they saw a monster spawn, they swarmed over like they were grabbing a red packet in a WeChat group. The poor stray dog spawned for less than 3 seconds and went straight to meet the system god. While he was in a daze, a stray dog spawned at Wang Yu's feet. It bared its teeth and roared at Wang Yu. Rabid stray dog, level 1, HP, 30 MP, 0 skill. Tear bite. Hearing this, Wang Yu instinctively gave a side kick, sending the stray dog flying. He then punched the stray dog's throat. -9-7 Two blood-red numbers appeared above the stray dog's head. Wang Yu's punch was aimed at a vital point. With the strength of his punch, not to mention a wild dog, even a wild wolf would not be able to survive this punch. However, this dog was quite capable. It only whimpered, flipped over, and bit Wang Yu's leg. A -3 appeared above Wang Yu's head. Wang Yu was slightly taken aback. She punched the dog's head twice before she finally killed it. After the stray dog died, it dropped a copper coin. This is not scientific, not scientific. Wang Yu mumbled as he picked up the copper coin and moved on to the next target. Because there were many people and few monsters, Wang Yu spent nearly half an hour to kill 10 stray dogs. Without exception, it took 4 or 5 hits to kill. However, with the carelessness from the first time, Wang Yu learned from his mistake. He was not bitten by a stray dog again, which attracted the attention of passing players. There were so many players in the game. Experienced experts would naturally be able to figure out a combo technique. However, it wasn't easy for someone like Wang Yu to kill a monster with one combo. After all, other than the side kick, the other punches were all normal attack. Not only did they have low attack power, but they also did not have any special effects. In the novice stage, the attack speed was not fast. If the rhythm was not good, it was easy to be bitten by a monster. After killing the stray dogs, they returned to the village, and Wang Yu logged out of the game. Taking off the game helmet, Mu Zixian was smiling at Wang Yu. This game is not bad, right? Let's eat first. We'll play after eating. Okay. Wang Yu put down the helmet and followed Mu Zixian to the living room. Li Shui and the others were there too. Looking at their happy faces, it seemed that they had played this game before. Landlord, have you played the game? What level are you? Molly was naturally familiar with people. She waved at Wang Yu when she saw him. Wang Yu replied with a smile, only level 1. I'm just getting used to it. It's already morning, and you haven't even leveled up? What class are you playing? Don't tell me you're a grandmaster of combat. Molly asked. Wang Yu asked curiously, yeah, how did you know? Molly was shocked. F***ck, it can't be, landlord. There are so many classes out there, why did you choose that lousy class? The others also looked at Wang Yu strangely, their eyes filled with doubt. Even Mu Zixian revealed an extremely gloomy expression. I forgot to tell you not to choose the Grandmaster of Combat profession. Wang Yu was a super fighter in real life. It was normal for him to choose the Grandmaster of Combat class in the game. Mu Zixian was careless and forgot about it. Why? Wang Yu was confused. Li Shui explained, Grandmaster of Combat is currently the most well-rounded class in Rebirth. Isn't that a good thing? What's so good about it? Molly grumbled. All-round means you're a jack of all trades. You can't fight, can't tank, and your stats are neither high nor low. You're practically trash. Wang Yu thought about it and said, but I think it's still okay. Li Shui said, it's not obvious at this stage, but there's still a gap. Because of the all-roundness of the Grandmaster of Combat, this class doesn't have weapon mastery or armor mastery skills. So while other classes can kill monsters in 3 hits, Grandmasters of Combat need 4 to 5 hits. The higher the weapon stats, the more obvious the gap will be. So this class isn't that great. Because of this, the forums are going crazy. F***CK. What kind of lousy game is this? Wang Yu heard it and cursed. Wang Yu did not regret choosing the Grandmaster of Combat class, but he was depressed. 4 Grandmasters of Combat like them who played with their fists and legs, they had it bad enough in real life. He did not expect it to be so bad in the game as well. Who did they offend when they practiced martial arts? It was Yi who was considerate and comforted Wang Yu. Landlord, don't be depressed. It's not like Grandmaster of Combat doesn't have any advantages. At least there's no class restriction on the equipment you can wear. When we get our equipment in the future, we can give it to you if we don't need it. Chapter 4. After dinner, the 4 ladies helped Mu Zixin clear the table while Wang Yu returned to the bedroom. Not long after, Mu Zixin followed and patted Wang Yu's shoulder, comforting him. Don't be discouraged, hubby. As the saying goes, there are no trashy professions, only trashy players. Being a Grandmaster of Combat also has its merits. What merits? At least the style is pretty cool, Mu Zixin said. Wang Yu continued to be depressed. Mu Zixin laughed. I'm just joking. There is a balance between professions. Grandmasters of Combat definitely have their merit. If the balance is broken, the system will update with a patch. Hearing Mu Zixin's words, Wang Yu felt a little better. He was just angry. Why were Grandmasters of Combat so unlucky? Oh right, my wife. I realize that this game doesn't make sense. Wang Yu suddenly said. Why? Wang Yu said, didn't they say that this game is a simulation of all professions? Why is it that when I fight monsters, no matter where I hit, I always lose the same amount of HP? What mode are you in? Mode? What's that? Wang Yu was stunned. Mu Zixin explained, there are 2 modes in Rebirth. One is the system mode and the other is the manual mode. What's the difference? In system mode, all profession skills will be adjusted. Skills and normal attacks will deal damage, according to the character's stats. Manual mode is completely free. Skills and attacks are completely up to you. In this mode, it's just like in real life. All the skills in real life can be brought into the game. If that's the case, isn't manual mode a lot more overpowered than system mode? Wang Yu thought about it and said. Although he had never played a game before, he knew the difference between the 2 modes. Haha. Mu Zixin laughed. Do you think everyone in the game is you? In the game, most players are normal people. Without the system's assistance, fighting is a problem. For example, archers, even Olympic champions can't always hit the target. Wang Yu's eyes lit up. Doesn't that mean that we martial artists have an advantage over normal people in the game? Of course. If it's in manual mode, the Grandmaster of Combat profession should be the most suitable for you. Mu Zixin said. Great. I'll give it a try. Hearing Mu Zixin say this, Wang Yu was in a great mood. Go, it's time for me to go to work. You have to do your best. If Li Shui and the others were there, they would definitely sigh. Having a GM at home really made a difference. Mu Zixin was much more reliable than those guys on the forums. He re-entered the game and returned to the center of the village. There were fewer people in the village than before, which was normal. Today was a working day, so there were fewer players going to work. There were only 8 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and the peak hours after work. According to Mu Zixin's instructions, Wang Yu found the mode option and changed it to manual mode. Brandishing his fists, Zhang Xian felt that his movements were much smoother than before. He no longer felt as if he was bound by something. That's more scientific. Wang Yu looked at his fists and muttered. He ran out of the village, wanting to try out the new mode and see what effect it would have. Coincidentally, a wild dog respawned and pounced at him. Wang Yu took a step back to avoid the wild dog's bite. With a roundhouse kick, he kicked the wild dog's chin. 21 The wild dog flew high into the air from the kick. Wang Yu extended his hand and grabbed the wild dog's throat, pulling it down. 35 The wild dog turned into a ray of white light, leaving behind a copper coin. Wang Yu opened the battle log and saw the words written on it. Skill. Sidekick, completion 120%, deals 300% of maximum physical attack damage. Additional effect. Knockback, dizzy for 2 seconds. Crippling attack, completion 170%, deals 500% of maximum physical attack damage. Additional effect. Ignore defense. Completion? Interesting. Wang Yu was stunned for a moment. He did not expect that there would be an additional effect when the completion exceeded 100%. Moreover, that normal attack just now, due to the high completion rate, actually surpassed a skill attack. Mu Zixian was right. This game was practically tailor-made for fighters. Thinking of this, Wang Yu suddenly felt that his future was bright. He happily returned to the village to submit the quest. At this time, at the place where Wang Yu was fighting monsters, a person pointed at Wang Yu's back and asked the person beside him, "Did you see that? That person is a grandmaster of combat." "Yeah. What's wrong?" "He killed a wild dog in 2 seconds. How is that possible? I'm a rogue. My attack is so high, I still need 3 slashes to kill a wild dog. Not to mention a low-level grandmaster of combat." The person beside him said in surprise. "It's very likely that his level is higher." Another person said, "Maybe, but his combo is quite cool. That should be the only advantage of a grandmaster of combat." After returning to the village, Wang Yu submitted the quest. The village chief smiled and said, "Iron Ox, you really are a good child. Blacksmith Li seems to be troubled by something. You can go and help him." As he spoke, the village chief waved his hand. A golden light flashed, and Wang Yu rose to level 2. In Rebirth, every time a player leveled up, he would gain 10 attribute points. 5 points would be added to the 5 attributes, and the remaining 5 would be distributed freely. Wang Yu added 3 points to strength and 2 to agility. Now Wang Yu's attributes were character attributes, ID, Iron Ox Grandmaster of Combat level, LV 2 HP, 150, 5 by 30 MP, 124 by 30 strength, 9 vitality, 5 spirit, 4 intelligence, 4 agility, 8 attack, 6-11 magic, 2-4 physical defense, 3-6 magic defense, 2-4 equipment, tattered coarse clothing defense, 1-1 tattered boxing glove attack, 1-2 skill. Side kick LV1, a powerful kick from a Grandmaster of Combat deals 120% of physical damage and sends the user flying. Consumes MP 30. Wang Yu strolled around the village, and finally arrived at Blacksmith Li's house. Blacksmith Li was forging weapons with a worried face. "How can I help you?" Wang Yu asked as he approached Blacksmith Li. "The animals outside the village have all gone crazy. I want to mine but I can't go out. Can you help me kill the bison blocking the way and open up a path for me?" Wang Yu was speechless. He mumbled, "If it's not killing dogs, then it's slaughtering cows. Is there no other quest?" To be honest, Wang Yu respected the craft of Kung Fu. He started practicing Kung Fu at the age of 4 and had trained for more than 20 years. Using it to kill dogs and cows felt like it was a disgrace to Kung Fu. It was originally just a sentence, but unexpectedly, Blacksmith Li's eyes lit up. "Huh? I couldn't tell that you're a brave warrior. I have a quest here, do you want to accept it?" "What quest?" Wang Yu wasn't an idiot. He naturally knew that he had encountered a legendary hidden quest. The blacksmith's expression suddenly became gloomy. My only son died in the mouth of a wolf. I want revenge, but I'm powerless. Honorable warrior, are you willing to help me kill that despicable wolf? System notification. You have activated the quest, Heart of a Warrior. Quest rank S. Do you accept? Accept. Jiang Fan accepted without hesitation. Chapter 5. It's just a silver boss? Wang Yu was slightly stunned. He thought to himself, I thought an S-rank quest would at least be a celestial boss. Before entering the game, Wang Yu had also read some of the game's introductions. He knew that the bosses in the game were divided into 5 ranks: bronze, silver, gold, dark gold, and celestial. However, what Wang Yu, who was a newbie to the game, did not know was that all bosses had extremely strong attributes. They were much stronger than the small monsters that they could usually trample on. Even if it was a bronze-ranked boss, it would still require the cooperation of many players to defeat it. Silver bosses were already the top existences in the novice village. As for celestial bosses, Wang Yu was thinking too much. There were only a few celestial bosses in the entire server. How could a mere novice village contain such a huge Buddha? If other players saw this quest, they would definitely be able to see that the conditions of this quest were extremely harsh. To kill a silver boss, one had to be below level 10, and one had to fight it alone. It was completely impossible to complete. Only Wang Yu was a noob in the game. He did not understand the difficulty of this quest and was still making sarcastic remarks. Don't worry, oldly. I'll definitely help you kill that beast. As he spoke, Wang Yu walked towards the Dawn Plains. The name of the novice village was Dawn Village. The Dawn Plains was the westernmost wilderness of the novice village. The wilderness was occupied by level 10 wild wolves. It had only been 3 days since the server opened. The highest level players in the novice village were only around level 9. Therefore, there were very few players in the Dawn Plains. They all moved in groups of 2s and 3s. These people were all here to fight for treasures. Although the experience gained from killing monsters of a higher level was higher than killing monsters of the same level, the most important thing in leveling was efficiency. Killing a level 10 wolf required half a minute and only gave 200 experience. Killing 3 monsters of the same level in half a minute was far more efficient than killing monsters of a higher level. If it was purely for experience, there was no need to come here to kill wolves. After looking at the map, Wang Yu passed through the monster area and arrived at the Dawn Plains. He went straight to the wild wolves spawn area. In Rebirth, wild wolves were monsters that players both loved and hated. As the highest leveled monster in the novice village, the wild wolves had a good drop rate. They could even drop level 10 skill books. Unfortunately, the wild wolves in the game lived in packs. There would be at least 6 wolves in a pack. If a normal player wanted to kill the wolves, they would have to form a party and kill them one by one. That way, the efficiency would be greatly reduced. There was no helping it. The attack power of 6 level 10 wild wolves was enough to instantly kill any player at the current stage of the game. At this time, Wang Yu was wandering around and soon encountered a pack of wild wolves. When they saw Wang Yu step into their territory, the 6 wild wolves that were napping in the bushes quickly stood up. They bared their teeth and approached him step by step while drooling. Why is this wild wolf the same as the stray dogs at the entrance of the village? Wang Yu complained as he inspected the wild wolf stats. Wild wolf, LV 10, HP, 300 MP, 50 skills. Bite, claw. A beast will always be a beast, relying only on its claws and teeth. Wang Yu shouted and rushed into the wolf pack. The pack of wolves did not want to be outdone and surrounded him. Wang Yu's feet moved and he dodged the attack of the wild wolf. With a side kick, he kicked the waist of the wild wolf closest to him. The wild wolf whimpered and flew up. A blood-red -44 floated above the wild wolf's head. Immediately after, Wang Yu's left hand grabbed the wild wolf's throat. His right hand's fingers were like knives as he stabbed down. 55-99-100 skill. Side kick, 140% completion, deals 400% of maximum physical attack damage. Additional effects: knockback, cripple. Crippling attack, 170% completion, deals 500% of maximum physical attack damage. Additional effect: ignore defense. Crippling attack, 185% completion, deals 900% of maximum physical attack damage. Additional effect: ignore defense. 3 consecutive hits with an additional 100 damage. The wild wolf only had 2 HP left. Under the effect of cripple, it was already on the verge of death. Wang Yu forcefully threw it out, and it coincidentally smashed into the bodies of 5 other wild wolves. It turned into a white light, and a black object fell to the ground. Instant kill. No one would have thought that a level 2 Grandmaster of Combat could actually kill a level 10 wild wolf with a set of consecutive hits. Even Wang Yu was a little puzzled. What the hell was the extra damage from 3 consecutive hits? The extra damage from consecutive hits was actually a hidden attribute of Rebirth's system. Currently, most players could not perform consecutive hits. However, in the future, when their attributes and skills improved, they would slowly discover it. The more consecutive hits, the higher the extra damage. In this game, Grandmasters of Combat were not loved by their parents. The specialty of their class was their consecutive hit. This could be considered as an additional compensation for Grandmasters of Combat. The other 5 wild wolves surrounded him again. Wang Yu's sidekick skill had also finished its cooldown. Just like before, he killed another wild wolf. Monsters like the wild wolves did not have high AI, and their attacks were very mechanical. Wang Yu quickly grasped their attack rhythm, and not long after, the 6 wild wolves turned into experience points. Currently, Wang Yu's attributes were ID. Iron Ox, Grandmaster of Fighter, level, LV 6 HP, 270, 9 by 30 MP, 240, 8 by 30 Strength, 25 Vitality, 9 Spirit, 8 Intelligence, 8 Agility, 20 Attack, 22-27 Mana, 5-8 Physical Defense, 12-15 Magic Resist, 10-13 Equipment, Blue Wolf Leather Armor, 2-2 Magic Resist, 2-2 Blue Wolf Helmet Physical Defense, 1-1 Magic Resist, 1-1 Blue Wolf Bracers Physical Defense, 1-1 Magic Resist, 1-1 Blue Wolf Boots Physical Defense, 1-1 Magic Resist, 1-1 Movement Speed plus 4% Worn Out Boxing. Gloves Attack, 1-2 Skill. Side Kick, LVL1. A powerful kick from a Grandmaster of Combat deals 120% of physical damage and sends the user flying. Consumes MP 30. The current Wang Yu's defense was very high. Even if a wild wolf bit him, the damage would only be in the single digit. Of course, with Wang Yu's skills, the wild wolf would not be able to attack him at all. Therefore, Wang Yu did not feel that defense was of any use to him. Wearing the equipment was just to look at the empty equipment slot. After another round, he still did not encounter the Silver Wolf King. Bosses were something that could only be encountered by chance, let alone a silver boss. Wang Yu helplessly returned to the beginner's village, attracting a large number of onlookers. In this day and age where everyone wore plain clothes and wooden swords, Wang Yu's attire was very eye-catching. The players looked at Wang Yu's attire and almost drooled. Looking at the material of his clothes, it was obvious that they were not ordinary items. Then looking at themselves, the plain clothes and the shabby ones at that. Damn it. Brother, where did you get these clothes? A warrior carrying a wooden sword walked over and asked Wang Yu in a muffled voice. Wang Yu said calmly, dropped. Everyone was speechless. What nonsense! If it was sold in the shop, who would be talking nonsense with you? Where did it drop? The warrior asked again. Dawn Plain, dropped by a wild wolf. Wang Yu was an honest person. Whenever someone asked, he would answer truthfully. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The Dawn Plain was full of level 10 wild beasts. Low-level players usually went there and returned, free return to the city. This big guy was a grandmaster of combat, right? And he was alone. Could it be that he already had the ability to kill the monsters in the Dawn Plain? Since when did a useless profession like the Grandmaster of Combat become so powerful? The warrior was also stunned and asked Wang Yu, "Are you selling it?" The warrior was just asking. After all, in the early stages of the game, this set of equipment was undoubtedly a godly equipment for beginners. The chances of it selling were not high. Who knew that Wang Yu would say without thinking, "Sell it"? For Wang Yu, other than the boots, the rest of the equipment was useless. Rather than wearing it and wasting it, it was better to sell it. When he first entered the studio, Wang Yu had already signed a contract with Li Shui. For the first 2 months of the game, he had to pay 5 gold coins every month. In the game, 1 gold coin equals 100 silver coins equals 10,000 copper coins. Wang Yu killed monsters without any cost, and he also killed wolves above his level. His income was quite high and he could definitely be considered rich. Now, he only had a dozen silver coins in his bag. Chapter 6. In the early stages of the game, if a normal player wanted to gather 5 gold coins every month, they would have to rely on the copper coins dropped by the small monsters to sell potions. Therefore, the best way was to sell equipment and treasures. In the studio contract, it was clearly stated that as long as a certain amount of gold coins was paid, the rest of the income would belong to Wang Yu. Thinking of Wang Yu's poor life, how could he give up on the opportunity to earn money? Hearing that Wang Yu's equipment set was for sale, the surrounding players were in an uproar. After all, this equipment set had a high defense bonus. If a knight wore it, they would definitely be able to tank all monsters except for the boss in the beginner's area. "I'll pay 10 silver coins for that set of clothes. What do you think?" The warrior who spoke first asked, overjoyed. 10 silver coins? Wang Yu was slightly stunned. It was not that he thought it was too little, but he was a little surprised. Although the official exchange rate was 1 silver coin equals 1 yuan, in the early stages of the game, the market value of gold coins was more than 10 times that value. In other words, a blue wolf leather armor was actually sold for 100 yuan after all. At this time yesterday, Wang Yu was still being humiliated for a bottle of mineral water that cost 1 yuan. Who would have thought that in this virtual world, a random item could earn so much money? "Brother, what do you think? I only have this much. If you think it's too little, I can pay in yuan." The warrior saw that Wang Yu did not speak and was a little anxious. Just as Wang Yu was lost in thought, a bandit next to the warrior laughed out loud. "Why are you pretending to be rich when you don't have money? Can't you see that people don't even care about you?" Then, the bandit said boldly, "Brother, I'll pay 50 silver coins for your leather armor and boots." 50 silver coins. Everyone was stunned. This bandit was really rich. It had only been 3 days since the server opened, and he already had so many silver coins. Wang Yu was still expressionless. He did not know the market value of this equipment. If he sold it carelessly, he would definitely suffer a loss. He should wait for Mu Zixian to come back and ask Li Shui. Thinking up to this point, Wang Yu called out the interface and opened up the stall option. Apart from the boots, he placed the other 7 pieces of equipment on the stall, 1 for each gold coin. He then logged off. When everyone saw that Wang Yu had suddenly turned into a scarecrow, they knew that Wang Yu had gone offline. Hence, they all clicked on the stall. When they saw the high price of 1 gold coin per item, everyone gave Wang Yu the middle finger. "Damn, 1 gold for 1 item. Are you crazy poor?" Removing the gaming device, Wang Yu wanted to ask Li Shui about the price of equipment at this stage, but the girl's bedroom door was closed, so she was probably still in the game. Wang Yu's family was a very old martial arts family. Although they had abandoned the idea that men were superior to women, they still valued the differences between men and women. In desperation, Wang Yu could only return to the balcony to practice. Practicing martial arts 3 times a day was Wang Yu's habit since he was young. He had never stopped practicing. As Wang Yu practiced, he recalled the battle in the morning. Wang Yu had a vague feeling that the game was not bad. At the very least, fighting with wild monsters was more effective than practicing martial arts. After practicing for a while, he suddenly heard movement in the living room. Wang Yu thought that Mu Zixin had returned, so he quickly ran to the living room to welcome her. In the end, he didn't see Mu Zixin. Instead, he saw Molly tiptoeing out of the bathroom. When Wang Yu saw Molly, his face blushed all the way to his neck. It was nothing to be alone with a girl, but what made Wang Yu blush was that Molly was wearing underwear, a set of purple underwear that only covered the important parts. Since it was a game, one had to try to relax their body. Wearing a heavy helmet was already very tiring, so many people liked to lie in bed and play like they were sleeping. Molly was no exception. She probably came out to use the toilet because she could not hold it in any longer. She did not even put on her pajamas. Sorry. Wang Yu hurriedly apologized. Molly giggled and said, "Landlord, what are you so shy about? I heard from Sister Shui that your chest muscles are very big. Let me touch them." Bang! Wang Yu closed the bedroom door without saying a word. "Tsk. You really don't know how to be funny." Molly mumbled unhappily and tiptoed back to her bedroom. After a while, Mu Zixin came back from work. When she returned to the bedroom, she saw Wang Yu browsing the official website of Rebirth. Mu Zixin smiled and said, "You have also learned to browse the forum." "Hee, just browsing." Wang Yu sneered. "How is it? How does manual mode feel? What level are you?" Mu Zixin asked. Wang Yu said, "It's pretty good. After farming wild wolves for the whole morning, I am now level 6. Level 6 wild wolves? You met an efficient team?" Mu Zixin asked curiously. "I soloed," Wang Yu said. "Soloed?" Mu Zixin's mouth twitched. One had to know that wild wolves were the highest level monsters in the beginner's zone. Moreover, they were in packs. Players had to form a party of 3 to barely be able to level up in the Dawn Plain. However, Wang Yu soloed and even managed to reach level 6 in the morning. Mu Zixin was completely shocked. What kind of freak was her husband? She should have let him play games long ago. Luckily, it had only been 3 days since the server opened. "You can break through the defense of a level 10 monster?" Mu Zixin asked, puzzled. In Rebirth, monsters were suppressed by levels. When a level 6 fought against a level 10 wild wolf, the wild wolf's defense would be doubled. Even though she knew that Wang Yu had martial arts, Mu Zixin still found it hard to believe. Wang Yu thought for a while and said, "Breakthrough defense? My attacks can ignore defense." Mu Zixin was so shocked that her jaw almost dropped to the ground. "You mean, in manual mode, your attack completion rate is over 100%? That seems to be the case." Wang Yu nodded. "Pervert!" After a while, this was what Mu Zixin said. Although Mu Zixin was just a customer service employee, as an internal staff of the game company, she completely knew about the so-called attack completion rate. If a normal player chose manual mode, the highest completion rate was 70% to 80%. It was far from the system's correction. During the closed beta, the staff responsible for the game's planning had personally tested it. The highest completion rate was only 98%. Moreover, the planning staff was said to be a martial arts practitioner. He was involved in designing the Grandmaster of Combat profession. However, not only did Wang Yu's completion rate exceed 100%, from what he said, it seemed like every attack exceeded 100%. This was simply shocking. If Mu Zixin did not know her husband well, she would have suspected that Wang Yu was cheating. Wang Yu was dissatisfied. Hey, how can you talk about your husband like that?" "I was just excited." Mu Zixian smiled apologetically. At this moment, the way she looked at Wang Yu was like a celestial being. She could not help but think of the time when she first met Wang Yu. Thank you for saving me. You're welcome. It's the duty of a martial arts practitioner. Martial arts practitioner. So this was the difference between a real martial arts practitioner and a normal person. Wang Yu closed the webpage and said to Mu Zixian, "Wife, I got a few pieces of equipment today. Someone wants to pay for them. Can you help me check the price?" Equipment? How many? Hearing the word equipment, Mu Zixian was startled. She recovered from her memories and asked. 8 pieces, all wolf equipment. Wang Yu said. Amazing! Amazing! With the previous shock, Mu Zixian was already numb to another feat that Wang Yu had created. The monster's drop rate was determined by the number of players killing the monster. 8 pieces of equipment. If it was a 3-man team killing wolves, they would have to kill at least 1,000. Since Wang Yu was killing wolves alone, it was reasonable that he could get so many pieces of equipment. Mu Zixian analyzed. Although Rebirth's leveling speed is not considered fast, it is still a transitional period of equipment. This kind of low-end level 5 wolf equipment can be sold for 50 silver coins in the early stages of the game, which is already not bad. Is that so? Alright, I know what I'm doing. Wang Yu nodded and asked, "Oh right, where is the Silver Wolf King? Why can't I find it after looking for so long?" Mu Zixian was stunned. Silver Wolf King? Why are you looking for it? Wang Yu said, "Quest. This beast ate Blacksmith Li's son. I want to kill it to avenge Blacksmith Li. Could it be Warrior's Heart? You know? Sister GM, tell me the strategy. I can pay with my body." Wang Yu smiled and joked. Shameless. Mu Zixian laughed and scolded him. Then, she said seriously, Warrior's Heart is a top-notch hidden quest chain in Rebirth. It's unique. Not to mention me, even the developers don't know the specific process. So you don't know where the Silver Wolf King is? Wang Yu said with a little disappointment. Mu Zixian said, the boss's respawn is not part of the quest chain. There is a big tree at the coordinates of 475 to 635 in the Dawn Plains. Kill all the wolves in the tree and the Silver Wolf King will appear to avenge its descendants. So that's how it is. Wang Yu said, no wonder I couldn't find it after looking for so long. There is a trigger condition. Mu Zixian nodded and said, yes, it is said that the trigger condition is because this boss is very special. It is much harder to deal with than the average gold boss. The developers are afraid that it will massacre the village, so you have to be careful. Wang Yu smiled and said, don't worry, I am a martial artist. When talking about martial arts practitioners, Wang Yu exuded a strong sense of confidence. His dispirited spirit, which had been caused by the oppression of life for many days, was completely swept away. Chapter 7. After eating, Wang Yu hurriedly entered the game. After entering the game, Wang Yu's notification panel kept flashing. Wang Yu didn't have many friends. He thought it was a system notification, so he ignored it. He opened his stall and removed the equipment. Mu Zixian had said that it was the eve of the game, so leveling up was relatively fast. The longer it took, the less valuable the equipment would be. Opening his stall, Wang Yu was surprised to find that all the equipment was sold out. Someone wants 1 gold each? Wang Yu looked at the 7 gold coins in his bag and shook his head. There were so many people who had money but nowhere to spend it. $7,000 to buy a few pieces of equipment that were about to expire. How much money did they have? After tidying up his stall, Wang Yu opened his notification panel, and a few messages popped up. Named Sword Daoxue. Brother, can the equipment be cheaper? Named Sword Daoxue. You're not here. Named Sword Daoxue. Alright, 1 gold each then. Let me know if you have any good stuff in the future. System notification. Named Sword Daoxue has requested to add you as a friend. Wang Yu clicked confirm and closed his notification panel. Thank goodness he wasn't here. Otherwise, with his good temper, he wouldn't be able to hold on to the price. With 7 gold coins in his pocket, Wang Yu felt a lot less pressure. With the speed at which he earned money in the game, Wang Yu was worried that he wouldn't be able to collect 5 gold coins before the end of the month. Now, he had exceeded his goal in just 1 day. What he had to do next was to complete the game's mission. After leaving the beginner's village, there were still as many players as before. There were also more people in the high-level monster areas. In the Dawn Plains, although it wasn't mainstream, there were still many players. Groups of 2s and 3s could be seen everywhere. Along the way, Wang Yu didn't linger on the bit of experience he gained from the wild wolves. He headed straight for the center of the Dawn Plains. As he walked, Wang Yu suddenly heard the sound of wind behind him. A wooden arrow shot towards the back of Wang Yu's head. Wang Yu frowned. He reached his right hand behind him and grabbed the arrow. System notification. You have been maliciously attacked by the team of Sage of the Three Realms, Shisamaru. You have 90 seconds to defend yourself. Wang Yu turned around and saw the 4 players staring at her with their mouths agape. The 4 players were a very common combination in the Plains of Dawn: warrior, mage, archer, and priest. These 4 professions were the most common mainstream professions in Rebirth. After the 4 players attacked Wang Yu, their IDs appeared above their heads. The warrior's name was Profession, Block Bullets, the archer's name was Raise Your Hand to Kill One, and the mage's name was Wave Your Hand to Kill a Bunch. The thief who was slammed to the ground by Wang Yu and called, but stabbing, was still in a daze, as if he was dreaming. Stealth was completely useless. An archer's focus strike was caught barehanded. Since when did a useless class like Grandmaster of Combat become so awesome? Silence, a deathly silence. Yo, Shirsho, is it really you? I didn't expect us to be in the same novice village. What a coincidence. At this moment, a voice came from not far away, breaking the silence. Looking towards the source of the voice, a priest and a warrior were walking over. Although the priest's words sounded like he had met an old friend in a foreign land, his face was full of disdain and disgust. Wang Yu was a little puzzled. Priests were useless classes in combat. Why were they born with leadership qualities? Why was every team leader a priest? The Sage of the Three Realms, Shirshomaru, was shocked when he saw them. Wuji, you dog! This has nothing to do with you, Chuanjin. People! Get lost! The priest walked up to Shirshomaru and touched his head. I didn't expect you to be a kid. The college entrance examination is coming up, and you still have the mood to play games? Motherf ****. Shirshomaru was furious after being humiliated by Wuji. He swung his staff and was about to fight with Wuji. However, the warrior behind Wuji smashed him to the ground with the hilt of his sword. Then, the warrior stabbed the sword into Shirshomaru's throat. Priests were only cloth-armored classes. Before they were fully formed, they had low defense and low health. Shirshomaru was also a priest who focused on spirit. He was beaten into a white light on the spot. Wang Yu's pupils shrank. This warrior was also in manual mode. In system mode, one could only use the skills specified by the system to attack. Warriors who used the warrior skill, Heavy Strike, with the hilt of their sword would definitely be in manual mode. Anyone who had experienced manual mode would know the difference. Seeing that their boss was killed instantly without being able to resist, the others were all stunned. They stood there, not daring to move. Wuji smiled at the others. Are you also from the apocalypse? Everyone hurriedly shook their heads. We're just classmates who killed. Oh. Wuji understood. He smiled and said, Little friends, don't go astray at such a young age. It's still better to focus on your studies. Uncle doesn't want to bully you today. Hurry up and leave. The group of children nodded repeatedly and said with a sobbing tone, Understood. Thank you, Uncle. After saying that, the children ran away without looking back. After doing all this, Wuji turned around and walked in front of Wang Yu. "Hello, my name is Wuji. This is my friend, Bao San." After saying that, Wuji pointed at the warrior. "Hello, my name is Iron Ox. Thank you for what you did just now." Wang Yu thanked them. Although with Wang Yu's ability, it was naturally easy for him to teach the group of children a lesson. However, since they helped him, he still had to be polite. Wuji smiled and said, "Brother Iron Ox, how did you provoke the people from the apocalypse?" Wang Yu scratched his head and said, "I'm not sure. It seems like they wanted to snatch equipment." Wuji smiled and said, "Sure enough, it's their style. Brother Iron Ox, you must be careful in the future. Those guys are very difficult to deal with." "Just a group of children," Wang Yu said lightly. To be honest, Wang Yu didn't take this matter to heart. Getting angry with a group of children was too shameful. Wuji smiled and said, "The power of the apocalypse is very big. Shisamuru is just a small character. Brother Iron Ox, don't be careless." "And I know. Thank you for the reminder." Wang Yu nodded and thanked him. Wuji said, "Let's add each other as friends. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. If the apocalypse comes looking for trouble with you in the future, just call me." "Okay." Wang Yu nodded and sent the two friend requests. After adding each other as friends, Wuji said politely, "Then we won't hold up Brother Iron Ox's leveling anymore. And goodbye." After saying goodbye to the two, Wang Yu continued to walk towards the center of the Dawn Plain. Looking at Wang Yu's receding figure, Bao San said, "This Grandmaster of Combat is not simple." "Is that so?" Wuji was slightly stunned. Bao San was a very arrogant brat. There were very few people that he liked. Bao San nodded and said, "From his skills just now, he's the same as me. He's also in manual mode. Moreover, he's soloing. His strength is probably stronger than mine." "Stronger than you?" Wuji's eyes widened. "You must be lying." Chapter 8. According to the coordinates given by Mu Zixian, Wang Yu knew from the map that the Silver Wolf King was in the center of the Dawn Plain. He went around the area where the wolves spawned and went directly to the big tree that Mu Zixian mentioned. The tree was very tall and its crown was very large. It stood in the middle of the Dawn Plain like a giant umbrella. 12 white wolves that looked much thicker than the other wolves were lying under the shade of the tree, bored out of their minds. Standing not far away, Jiang Fan probed the wolf pack's information. The 8 outside were of a lower level and were normal monsters. Silver Wolf Warrior, level 12, HP 1000 MP, 100 skills. Bite, Claw, Pounce. The 4 inside were of a higher level and were elite monsters. Silver Wolf Guard, level 15, elite skills. Bite, Claw, Pounce and Rebirth. The attack and defense attributes of monsters could not be seen. However, seeing that the attributes of these monsters were so much stronger than normal wolves, Wang Yu knew that it would be very painful to be bitten by them. However, that was based on the premise that they could bite Wang Yu. Wang Yu's father had once said, "Destructive power is not equivalent to combat power. In the world of martial arts, only speed is unbeatable. No matter how great your strength is, if you can't hit the enemy, it is equivalent to nothing." At this time, Wuji and Bao San had already caught up. Bao San pulled Wuji and said, "Let's stay here. If we go any further, we will be detected." Wuji was shocked. "You must be joking. We are so far away. I can't even see clearly. How can he detect us?" The two of them were about 10 meters away from Wang Yu, so they could only see roughly. Bao San said, "He can even pull out a thief who is in stealth. Do you think a cleric like you is less conspicuous than a thief? What is he doing now?" Seeing that Wang Yu was facing a dozen wolves alone, Wuji was a little dazed. "Don't tell me she's trying to kill that group of Silver Wolf warriors alone." The spawn point of the Silver Wolf warriors in the Dawn Plains was not a secret. Players who often came here to train knew about it. They had also tried it and knew how powerful these monsters were. Although the wild wolf's HP wasn't high, its attack and defense were publicly acknowledged. At this stage of the game, no one would be able to kill a level 12 special monster like this. That can't be. Bao San wasn't sure. As someone who was also in independent mode, Bao San was very confident in his control. However, against this group of Silver Wolf warriors, he was powerless. The 4 Silver Wolf guards, in particular, gave Bao San a lingering fear. Bao San was a very arrogant person. He could see that Wang Yu was stronger than him, but only by a little. Bao San was a warrior, and it was difficult for him to farm silver wolves. As a grandmaster of combat, how strong could he be? Suddenly, Wang Yu moved and walked straight into the wolf pack. F***ck, he really went over. Wuji pointed at Wang Yu and shouted excitedly. Bao San rubbed his chin and said, if he lured them one by one and killed them, although it would take some effort with such low AI, it's only a matter of time before they are killed. If it were me, I would be able to do it. Wuji looked at Wang Yu blankly and said, he doesn't seem to have any intention of luring the silver wolves. What? Bao San looked up and saw Wang Yu casually walking to the bottom of the tree. He was surrounded by the 12 silver wolves, and then he whistled as if he was playing with a dog. Hey, this is the expert you were talking about. It's really an eye-opener. Wuji taunted. Does this kid want to die? Bao San was sweating and his face was red. However, what happened next made the two of them drop their jaws to the ground. The wolf pack's aggro range was under the tree. When Wang Yu walked to the bottom of the tree, the 12 wolves were already howling and walking over. These wolves were all ferocious, and there was saliva dripping from the corners of their mouths. It seemed like they hadn't eaten for a long time. Wang Yu whistled as if he was giving them an order. The 12 wolves quickly formed a circle and pounced over with their claws and fangs bared. Wang Yu did not panic. He jumped up, and at the same time, his feet were not idle. Wang Yu's feet moved rhythmically as he stepped on the tree trunk and jumped into the air, avoiding the first wave of attacks from the wolves. Then, Wang Yu took advantage of the momentum and jumped out of the wolf pack's encirclement. After jumping out of the encirclement, Wang Yu landed steadily behind a silver wolf guard. He sent it flying with a side kick, a choke stun, a combo, 2 combo, 3 combo. That miserable silver wolf guard floated in the air with a circle of stars on its head. Wang Yu methodically punched the silver wolf guard's throat, abdomen, and chin. Wang Yu's body moved continuously, avoiding wave after wave of biting and clawing attacks from the wolves, until the pitiful silver wolf guard was hit by Wang Yu's combo and turned into a ball of white light. It did not fall from the air. Seeing that the wolves were ready to pounce, Wang Yu did not even have time to pick up the loot dropped by the silver wolf guard. He quickly jumped to the bottom of the tree again. This isn't a dream, right? Wuji rubbed his eyes hard. He could not believe what was happening in front of him. A silver wolf guard with 2000 HP was instantly killed by a Grandmaster of Combat's combo. If this was not a dream, then there must be a bug in the system. The muscles on Bao San's face twitched. Bao San had originally thought that his skill level was about the same as this Grandmaster of Combat called Iron Bull. Even if he had a weakness, it would be limited. With his class advantage to make up for it, perhaps he would still have an advantage. However, after watching Wang Yu's battle, Bao San felt that he was a joke. What did it mean by just a little bit? It's not a bug, this is the manual mode, Bao San said, trembling with excitement. Wuji was shocked. How is this possible? Those silver wolves did not even lose any HP, Bao San said. It's not that he did not lose any HP, it's that he did not even get hit. Since Bao San dared to play the manual mode, he definitely had some skills. He did not get hit. When Bao San said this, Wuji was even more shocked. Could this be the legendary 100% dodge rate? Being surrounded by so many alpha wolves and still able to dodge 100%, is this guy still human? If Wang Yu knew what Wuji was thinking, he would definitely laugh bitterly. In reality, if Wang Yu could dodge 100% of the wolves, it would naturally be very easy. However, in the game, especially in the early stages, her attributes were as weak as a child. If she wanted to do this, she would need to be fully focused. For example, Wang Yu did not have the confidence to dodge the silver wolf's pounce, so he could only use the terrain to dodge. Originally, Wang Yu did not want to waste so much energy. If he could lure them one by one, it would be much easier. However, Mu Zixian had made it very clear that the Silver Wolf King would only appear if he killed all the wolves within the respawn time. A computer was a computer after all. Its AI was limited, and its attacks were monotonous and boring. As long as he found the rhythm of his attacks, as long as he focused, there would not be any mistakes. In less than 3 minutes, 8 Silver Wolf warriors and 4 Silver Wolf guards were all killed by Jiang Fan. On average, he killed 1 wolf every 10 seconds. This efficiency was probably comparable to the spellcasters in the later stages of the game. As expected of the boss's personal minions, each Silver Wolf warrior dropped as much as 1 silver coin. The Silver Wolf Guard gave a huge sum of 2 silver coins, and at the same time, left 2 pieces of green equipment for Wang Yu. Silver Wolf's Tooth, Ring, Bronze, Attack 4-6 Magic 1-3 Bloodthirst. 5% chance of attacking with lifesteal effect, 1% lifesteal effect. Level requirement: 10 Silver Wolf's Armor Physical Defense, 5-10 Magic Resistance, 5-10 Block. 5% chance of negating damage, 20 melee damage, 10 range damage. Level requirement: 10. The main attributes were not bad, but the additional attributes were a little low. It was better than nothing. Wang Yu kept the equipment in his backpack, sat cross-legged, and recovered his MP. Alright, let's go. Bao San pulled the stunned Wuji and said, "Now you know that this person is an expert." Wuji came back to his senses and shook his head. This guy is simply a god. It's a pity that he chose such a useless profession as a Grandmaster of Combat. Tisk, what do you know? With his skills, even if he chose a magician, he could still defeat a group of people barehanded without using any skills. Yes, that's true. Wuji nodded. He did not doubt Bao San's words at all. It could not be helped. After seeing Wang Yu's battle, he could not help but believe it. Roar! Just as the two of them were about to turn around and leave, a loud roar suddenly rang through the entire Dawn Plain. The players who were training on the Dawn Plain heard the wolf roar and were shocked. They thought to themselves, what's going on? What sort of heartless thing did he do to the wild wolves? Chapter 9. Following this loud roar, a strong gust of wind rolled up, and the grass under the tree was immediately lifted up by the gust of wind. Wang Yu stood up and jumped back. At the same time, a giant wolf appeared at the place where Wang Yu had been sitting. This wolf was half a head taller than the bison at the entrance of the village. Its fur was white and shiny, without a single blemish. Its eyes were like copper bells, and its mouth was like a blood basin. Its every movement carried the majesty of a king. It was majestic and imposing. Of course, if it was not directly spawned, its appearance would have been even more shocking. Silver Moon Wolf King? Elite, Silver Boss HP, 50,000 MP, 2,000 skills, Bite, Claw, Pounce, Moon Wolf Charge. After seeing the attributes of the Wolf King, Wang Yu was slightly stunned. Didn't they say that this boss was overpowered? It was just SOSO. Other than having higher health points and an additional skill, it was just an enhanced version of a Silver Wolf warrior. If other players knew what Wang Yu was thinking, they would definitely curse. This was a silver boss. Its level was so high that it could not be seen. Players at the current stage would definitely not be able to break its defense. What did he mean by just SOSO? For example, Wuji and Bao San were already stunned. Especially Wuji, who exclaimed, F***CK, it's a silver boss, why isn't he running? Don't tell me he wants to fight it alone. Although Bao San was not as shocked, he was also stunned. It can't be. Does he have the ability to fight a silver boss alone? Does this kid have a limit? I'm suddenly looking forward to it. After the shock, Wuji's face was full of excitement. Even in the later stages of the game, it was a rare sight to see someone fight a boss alone. As he spoke, Wuji quickly turned on the camera function. When Wang Yu fought a group of silver wolves alone, he regretted being too shocked and forgetting to record it. At this moment, Wang Yu was quite disappointed with his previous expectations. As a martial artist, challenging difficult things was a habit that was cultivated in his bones. Wang Yu thought that there was something special about this boss, but after seeing its attributes, he could only sigh. Wang Yu had already figured out the attack patterns of the Silver Wolf warriors and Silver Wolf guards. No matter how much HP he could only take a few more punches. At this thought, Wang Yu crooked his finger at the Silver Moon Wolf King and made a provocative gesture. The Silver Moon Wolf King immediately felt that his dignity as a king had been violated. He bared his teeth, arched his body, and pounced over. Wang Yu knew that this move was called pounce. If more than a dozen wolves used it at the same time, there would be nowhere to run. However, there was only one Wolf King. Even if it was faster, it would still be able to dodge. Wang Yu took a step to the left and tilted his body slightly. The Wolf King brushed past his body and fell to the ground. It was expected. Wang Yu smiled slightly. Just as he was about to kick sideways and launch a series of attacks, the Wolf King did not stop after missing its attack. It turned around and clawed at Wang Yu. Wang Yu was shocked and hurriedly blocked. Even so, the attack sent Wang Yu flying. 282, a blood-red number, appeared above Wang Yu's head. Wang Yu and Bao San's hearts trembled at the same time. Manual mode! What do you mean? Wuji asked, puzzled. This Wolf King is actually a manual mode monster. No wonder there's the word elite at the end of its name. Wuji asked curiously, is there any difference between a manual mode monster and a normal mode monster? Of course there's a difference. Bao San explained, monsters in normal mode have stiff movement. After each attack, there'll be a slight pause. In manual mode, monsters don't have that. They fight purely on instinct. In other words, this Grandmaster of Combat isn't facing a monster, but a real beast. Wuji took a deep breath. Then, isn't Iron Ox in danger? Yup. Bao San nodded. Let's go help him, Wuji said. Even if they couldn't take on the Silver Moon Wolf King alone, Wang Yu was already an incredible expert in Wuji's heart. It was necessary to befriend him now. Bao San shook his head. No, we'll die if we go. Why? Because the game designer is too shameless. Bao San scolded. Didn't you see that the Grandmaster of Combat didn't react before he provoked him? Monsters in manual mode don't have an aggro system. They only pick on the weak. Do you think the two of us are enough for him? Wuji was completely dumbfounded. There was no aggro system in the game? What was that supposed to mean? This was what Bao San meant by the shamelessness of the game designers. The Heart of the Brave quest was meant to be completed by a single player. With the aggro system, smart players would definitely be able to think of many ways to take advantage of the loopholes. For example, without forming a party, a group of people could surround the Wolf King and let the players who accepted the quest deal damage freely. 50,000 HP would be whittled down sooner or later. Hence, the more sinister game designer came up with such a plan. No wonder Muzishian said that although this boss was a silver rank, it was much harder to deal with than a gold rank boss. Just as Wuji said, Wang Yu's current situation was very dangerous. First was his HP. Wang Yu only had a total of 300 HP. Although he wasn't instantly killed after blocking, he only had a dozen HP left. Secondly, the Wolf King had already pounced on him for the second time. Just as he was about to be killed, Wang Yu chuckled and said, "Good beast, you're really something." Then, he flipped over and stood up, dodging the Wolf King's pounce. The Wolf King missed and tried to claw at him again. Wang Yu took the opportunity to advance instead of retreating. The pitiful Silver Moon Wolf King could not hit the player at all. This scene made everyone feel as if they were dreaming. After a long time, someone asked, F***CK. Is he using a cheat? Bullsh**T. The virtual helmet is connected to the cloud. How can there be a cheat? Maybe it's some other external support device? Hurry up and lock on to this player. Okay. After a series of clicks and clicks, the staff's expression changed. What? Is it a cheat? Seeing the staff's expression, everyone gathered around. The staff said in shock, No. This person is completely normal. Chapter 10. Wang Yu was completely oblivious to the fact that he had been noticed by the gaming company. He was still calm and collected as his fists and feet landed on the Silver Moon Wolf King. The Silver Moon Wolf King's HP dropped little by little, and soon, it reached 30%. Oh woo! The Silver Moon Wolf King howled and jumped 4 to 5 meters away. Wang Yu was just about to follow when the Silver Moon Wolf King's figure suddenly blurred. Moon Wolf Charge! Wang Yu saw the Wolf King's figure blurring, and immediately thought of this skill. So this is the Wolf King's ultimate skill? While Wang Yu was still in a daze, the Silver Moon Wolf King turned into a series of shadows and pounced at Wang Yu. Wang Yu held his breath and focused on the Silver Moon Wolf King. His movements suddenly became strange, twisting left and right as if he was dancing. 1, 2, 3, 7. The shadows flashed 7 times. Wang Yu took 7 steps forward and twisted his body 7 times. Every time, before the phantom's attack reached him, he would dodge it. The Silver Moon Wolf King's attack completely missed. Bao San and Wuji were so shocked that they could not speak. The gaming monitoring group was even more silent. That Moon Wolf Charge, did he dodge it? The designer of the Silver Moon Wolf King asked, still in shock. Everyone nodded. I think so, that's crazy. Everyone could almost hear the designer's heart breaking. If the designer could hear Wang Yu's words, his heart would probably shatter into pieces. Wang Yu said, What kind of messed up move is this? You want to hit me with this? That's right, in Wang Yu's eyes, the Moon Wolf Charge that the designer was so proud of was full of flaws. It was not even as dangerous as the hand-to-hand fight he had just now. Bullsh**T ultimate skill, it was practically a pile of shit. This was what Wang Yu wanted to say the most. The Wolf King seemed to be much weaker after using the Moon Wolf Charge, like a venomous snake. Not only was it dispirited, but even its movements had slowed down. Seeing this, Wang Yu smiled and rushed towards the Wolf King. The side kick hit the Wolf King's chin, and the Wolf King's head jerked backward. Uppercut, strangle, inch punch 1, 2, 3 in the blink of an eye, the Silver Moon Wolf King had turned into a wooden stake on his balcony in Wang Yu's eyes. Wang Yu's figure flashed, his fists and legs landing on the Wolf King's body. The Wolf King whimpered and simply gave up resisting. Soon, it turned into a white light and returned to the embrace of Mother System. Purring, before it died, the Silver Moon Wolf King, filled with indignation and anger, unleashed a huge explosion. At the same time, Wang Yu, who had been hogging the experience from the Silver Boss in manual mode, leveled up 3 times in a row. The 12 Silver Wolf Warriors had already allowed Wang Yu's experience to reach level 6, 90%. Coupled with the large amount of experience from the Wolf King, if not for the fact that he could only reach level 10 after completing the village mission, Wang Yu would have leveled up more than 3 times in a row. World Announcement: Novice Village 3318 player, Iron Ox, has killed the boss Silver Moon Wolf King and completed the first kill. He has taken a step forward on the road to becoming a strong player. The entire game was stunned. They knew about the Silver Wolf Warriors, but the Silver Moon Wolf King? What kind of boss was that? Why hadn't they heard of it? Who was Iron Ox? Was he also a gaming expert? Which game did he come from? Whose alt was it? The god of war or the god of magic? For a moment, everyone was guessing. A newbie like Wang Yu wouldn't care about this kind of thing. She happily kept all the spoils of war into her bag. The Silvermoon Wolfgang was really generous. It actually dropped more than 10 gold coins in one go. Such a rich monster was worthy of its boss title. It gave 3 pieces of equipment. Wolfgang's Claw, Dagger. Silver, Attack 22-29 Magic 10-13 Bloodthirst. 10% chance of attacking with lifesteal effect, 2% lifesteal effect. Heavy Injury. 10% chance of crippling target, 20% movement speed reduction. Level Requirement. 15 Wolfgang's Blessing, Necklace. Gold, Attack 31-42 Magic 15-19 Focus. MP recovers 3 per second recovery. HP recovers 1% of max HP per second. Additional skill, Silvermoon Wolfgang. Summons 7 Wolfgangs to attack the enemy at the same time. Each Wolfgang deals damage equal to the user's strength x3. Cooldown, 6 hours. Level Requirement. 10 Wolfgang's Shadow Boots. Silver. Physical Defense 16-22 Magic Defense 16-22 increases movement speed by 7% haste, increases attack speed by 10% ghost, increases movement speed by 200% for 3 seconds. Cooldown, 180 seconds. Level Requirement. 10 at the same time, a skill book and a small token were also dropped. Restoration. Passive skill, increases attack and MP by 10%. No class limit. Inheritance token. Not sure what use it has, but it seems to contain some secret. Other than that, because Wang Yu was the first to kill the Silvermoon Wolfgang, he received an additional 1,000 reputation points. Looking at his experience bar, it was already full. There was no point in farming monsters here. Wang Yu did not stay and turned around to hand in the quest. As soon as he reached the beginner's village, Wang Yu's message popped up. Wang Yu saw that it was from famous sword Snowflake. He was overjoyed and thought to himself, the god of fortune is here. In the morning, this famous sword Snowflake had spent 7 gold to buy a bunch of equipment. Now that he was looking for him, who knew how much more he would have to spend? As expected, when he opened the message, famous sword Snowflake went straight to the point. Brother, what did the Silvermoon Wolfgang drop? Equipment. Skill book. Wang Yu replied. Send a picture. How do I send it? Wang Yu asked, puzzled. Famous sword Snowflake sent a bunch of ellipses. You don't even know how to take a screenshot? Are you a newbie? Yeah. It's my first time playing this game. Wang Yu said honestly. Awesome. Famous sword Snowflake sent a thumbs-up emoji, then taught Wang Yu how to send the attributes bit by bit. Wang Yu sent all the equipment that she had obtained today to him in one go. Looking at the attributes of the equipment, famous sword Snowflake was stunned for a long time before replying. Name a price. The game had only been open for 3 days, and not only did he get bronze equipment, he even got silver and gold equipment. This iron ox was really a talent. Those 2 bronze equipment were simply the best for close combat, a must-have for a main tank. Daggers were even more so a godly weapon that assassins dreamed of. Those boots, with a speed bonus of 7%, were already the best attributes, and the 2 skills were enough to make any archer go crazy. As for the gold equipment, let alone famous sword Snowflake, even a gaming idiot like Wang Yu could see that it was extraordinary. Name a price. How should I name it? Wang Yu said lightly. I'm not familiar with prices. Famous sword Snowflake said. The ring is 10 gold, the clothes are 15 gold. As for the rest, I'll pay in RMB. Wang Yu was already shocked by famous sword Snowflake's generosity. It was just 2 virtual items, and this guy actually offered a high price of more than 10,000. Did people nowadays go crazy from playing games? Alright, come to the blacksmith, we'll talk face to face. Not long after, a thief sneakily appeared beside Wang Yu. This thief was quite handsome, but he was sneaky, making people unable to help but laugh. Your iron ox? After seeing Wang Yu, Famous Sword Snowflake was a little shocked. He originally thought that someone who could kill a boss would be a warrior or a mage, who would have thought that it was a useless grandmaster of combat. The first time Famous Sword Snowflake met Wang Yu went offline to set up a stall. He was just a scarecrow. Your Famous Sword Snowflake? Wang Yu was also slightly stunned. He did not expect such a rich nouveau riche to be so sneaky. Famous Sword Snowflake nodded and said, "Yup, let's trade." As he spoke, he handed over a bag of gold. Wang Yu conveniently placed the ring and a pair of clothes into Famous Sword Snowflake's hands. After the trade, Famous Sword Snowflake said, "I'll pay 50,000 for the dagger, 100,000 for the boots, 200,000 for the necklace. Give me your bank account number. I'll transfer the money to you right now." Wang Yu shook his head. "I plan to use the boots and necklace myself." "Then why did you send me the pictures?" Wang Yu said, "Didn't you ask me what the boss dropped?" Famous Sword Snowflake looked at Wang Yu with a face full of black lines. "You're really a newbie. Rebirth didn't have any protection for equipment. Hence, veterans of the game knew that one shouldn't flaunt one's wealth. Unlike Wang Yu, who answered honestly when others asked. "Yes, today is my first day playing." Wang Yu nodded. "All right, I'll be friends with you. Give me your account number, I'll transfer the money to you right now." "Wait a minute," Wang Yu said and went offline. Not long after, he came back online and gave Famous Sword Snowflake a set of numbers. "You haven't used this card before, right?" Wang Yu blushed. "No, my wife made it for me. It took me a lot of effort to find it." Tisk tisk. Famous Sword Snowflake sighed and began to operate the card. "All right, turn it over." "Yup." Wang Yu nodded and handed over the dagger. Famous Sword Snowflake was dumbfounded. "Aren't you going to check the balance in your account?" "How?" Wang Yu was puzzled. "Oh my God, you beat me!" Therefore, Famous Sword Snowflake taught Wang Yu how to bind his bank card to the game. He checked and found out that 50,000 yuan had been transferred to his account. Looking at the 50,000 yuan in the card, Wang Yu counted it a few times and had an indescribable feeling in his heart. 50,000 yuan, this was the first time he had earned money since he was young. He did not expect to earn it this way. "All right, I'm leaving. Contact me when you have good equipment." After saying that, Famous Sword Snowflake disappeared in stealth. After Famous Sword Snowflake left, Wang Yu counted the balance in his bank again and went to Blacksmith Li. This time, when Blacksmith Li saw Wang Yu, he was no longer indifferent. Instead, he said excitedly, "Hero, I didn't expect you to really kill that despicable Wolf King." Wang Yu was depressed. From what this old man said, could it be that he wanted me to die on purpose? "Yes." Wang Yu nodded. Sob sob. "Son, your father has finally avenged you." After the system plot, Blacksmith Li returned to his previous smiling face. This made Wang Yu sigh. NPCs are really awesome. Crying and smiling, they change so quickly. "Respected hero, thank you again for avenging me. It's what a martial artist should do," Wang Yu said humbly. Blacksmith Li ignored Wang Yu and said, "A long time ago, I saved a heavily injured grandmaster of combat. After he died, he left me a weapon, hoping that I could find a true hero for him and pass it on. Are you willing to accept it?" Wang Yu said, "Yes." At the same time, he thought to himself, if you saved that grandmaster of combat, why did he die? Is the system designer an idiot? Achoo! The game designer sneezed violently and mumbled, "Damn, winter is so hard. Why did I catch a cold again?" Chapter 11. Seeing the blacksmith casually take out the equipment from under the counter, Wang Yu's heart sank. Looking at the crappy place where Old Li put the equipment, it was definitely not something good. However, he was lacking weapons now. No matter what, it would be better than the rags on his hands. Thinking of this, Wang Yu extended his hand and took it. After taking it, Wang Yu was stunned when he saw the attributes of the glove. It was not because the glove was trash, but because it was too strong. It did not look like a weapon that could be dropped in the beginner's zone. Warrior's Sai Glove, Silver, Damaged, Upgradable, Attack, 40-40 Mana, 40-40 Haste, Attack Speed plus 20% Splash, 10% damage dealt to nearby unit. Maximum damage is 60% of the attack power. Special skills. Devour, can fuse with weapons of the same level to repair oneself and level up. Level requirement. Wang Yu did not really understand the attributes of the equipment in the game. However, he had seen silver-level weapons before. They were both silver-level weapons, but the main attributes of this glove were almost 50% higher than the dagger. It was probably close to the attributes of a gold-level equipment. Moreover, the two additional attributes were also quite overpowered. High attack speed and splash damage could increase one's farming speed. It just so happened to make up for the weakness of a Grandmaster of Combat having only single-target skills. As expected of an S-rank mission, the equipment given was indeed extraordinary. After putting on the equipment and swinging it a few times, Wang Yu felt that his strength and speed had increased a lot. Although it was still not at his level in real life, it was already very good to have such a huge improvement. Wang Yu was in a good mood and said happily, "Thank you, old Li." Blacksmith Li nodded mechanically. "Honorable hero, may you walk further and further on the path of the strong." At the same time, Wang Yu received two notifications. The first was the reward of 50,000 EXP. As he did not leave the beginner's village, he did not level up. The other was a mission notification. System notification. Heart of a Warrior, second round, Road of Legacy. Profession changed to Hidden Profession, Martial Artist. Legacy token 1 of 1. Wang Yu was stunned for a moment. He took out the black token from his bag and thought to himself, so this is for profession change. He had to go to the main city after he reached level 10. Keeping the token, Wang Yu walked to the center of the village and looked for the village chief. "Hello, village chief. Honorable warrior, you're here." After the village chief saw Wang Yu, he said respectfully. This was the second time Wang Yu had greeted the village chief, and the way he addressed him had changed from Iron Ox to warrior. "Yes, village chief." Wang Yu nodded. "What business do you have with me?" "The world is so big, I want to see it." Wang Yu talked nonsense with the village chief according to the system's framework. The village chief muttered to himself irresolutely, "I can see that you already have great strength, but it's still not enough." Wang Yu knew that this was a mission, so he asked, "What else do I need to do?" "To prove that you are strong enough, go to the tree in the Dawn Plains and get me a Silver Wolf Warrior's mane." A system notice. You have triggered the storyline quest training before leaving the village, quest rank C. Do you accept? Accept. Training before leaving the village. To prove that you are strong enough to roam the world, please go to the Dawn Plains and bring back a Silver Wolf Warrior's mane for the village chief. Silver Wolf Warrior's mane 0 to 1. Wait. Wang Yu snapped his fingers and ran towards the Dawn Plains. It was just a Silver Wolf Warrior. Even the Silver Moon Wolf King was no match for Wang Yu. Killing these followers would be as easy as chopping melons and vegetables. When he arrived at the tree in the Dawn Plains, Wang Yu was surprised to find that there were a lot of people squeezed under the tree. The group of people inside seemed to be in a group, each of them looking fierce. They blocked the other players on the periphery, and the people in the innermost area were attacking the pitiful silver wolves in an orderly manner. "What are they doing?" Wang Yu curiously asked a warrior beside him. The warrior gritted his teeth and said, "These are people from the apocalypse. They are guarding the boss here. I can't even complete the village quest." This warrior was obviously an expert to be able to receive the village quest. Even he was helpless against the people from the apocalypse. This showed how arrogant and despotic these people were. "Guarding the boss?" The warrior said, "Yes, I heard that there is a god called Iron Ox in our novice village. He killed a silver moon wolf king here, and it was announced in the World Channel. Don't you know? I know. Wang Yu nodded and thought to himself, Iron Ox is my brother, how can I not know? Even if you are guarding the boss, you can't just let others do the quest. This monster is not his pet. Wang Yu said. So what? This is a person from the apocalypse. The warrior had a helpless expression. Wang Yu replied and walked inside. The warrior hurriedly pulled Wang Yu's arm and asked, What are you going to do? Do the quest. The warrior advised, Come on, I can't even do it as a warrior. You are a grandmaster of combat, and you want to fight them head-on? Wait a little longer, they will leave after killing the boss. Wang Yu looked at the innermost area. The people from the apocalypse were doing their best to attack the 2 silver moon wolf warriors and said, How long do we have to wait? He shook off the warrior's arm and walked straight over. Hey you! The warrior could not stop him in time. Wang Yu had already walked into the crowd. A warrior at the periphery saw Wang Yu coming over and said angrily, Guarding the boss during the apocalypse, no one is allowed. At the same time, he picked up the sword in his hand and stabbed it into the ground. If the quality of his sword was better, it would have been fine. However, he was using an old wooden sword that was free for newbies to do this. It was not intimidating enough, but rather amusing. Wang Yu said, You guard the boss, I will do a quest and leave after that. Bullsh *T. Don't you know the rules? The warrior heard Wang Yu and flew into a rage. What did he mean by leaving after finishing the quest? He had already said that the entire area was reserved, and he still dared to approach. It was obvious that he did not care about the apocalypse. Wang Yu was not in the mood to discuss the rules with him. He bypassed the crowd and jumped into the circle. F***ck, you're asking for it. The warrior saw that Wang Yu had really entered the circle and shouted. He brought his men and chased after him. At this time, there were only 6 silver moon wolf warriors and 4 silver moon wolf guards under the tree. Without saying a word, Wang Yu rushed into the circle of wolves. The silver moon wolves' aggro was immediately attracted. When Wang Yu was level 6, he did not wear anything and killed these silver moon wolves effortlessly. Now, he had 3 pieces of high-level equipment on him. The silver moon wolves' most difficult attack was easily dodged by Wang Yu now. At this time, the attack of the apocalypse's gang members had arrived. Wang Yu sneered. He leaped high into the air, dodging the silver moon wolf's attack. With a wave of his hand, he caught 3 arrows fired by the apocalypse's players. As he landed, Wang Yu didn't hesitate in the slightest. He took advantage of the momentum and kicked a thief out of thin air. Although Wang Yu's kick didn't use any skills, the force behind it wasn't something a thief could endure. This kick directly sent the thief flying into the jaws of the silver moon wolf. The thief let out a blood-curdling scream and turned into a streak of white light. After kicking the thief away, Wang Yu followed up with a side kick, sending a white moon wolf warrior flying into the air. He then followed up with a few punches and 2 kicks, killing it. All of this happened too quickly. The apocalypse's warriors and knights had yet to reach Wang Yu. The sorcerer was still chanting the fireball spell when Wang Yu had already killed a silver moon wolf and a thief from the apocalypse. Picking up the silver moon wolf's mane on the ground, Wang Yu quickly jumped out of the circle. His movements were elegant and neat. Everyone present was stunned. This Grandmaster of Combat's attack was so high. What skill did he use? He could actually catch the archer's arrow. How did he know where the thief was? This maneuver was really... The apocalypse's people didn't have time to admire Wang Yu's figure. Chapter 12. After exiting the game, Wang Yu let out a long sigh of relief. He went to the bathroom and washed his face. Playing the game for a long time was also very tiring, especially when he was fighting the Silver Moon Wolf King. He could not afford to make a single mistake. Concentrating on the battle made Wang Yu feel a little tired. After an entire day, he was covered in grease. When he came out of the bathroom, The girls in the room next door had also gone offline. They ran out while chattering. Wang Yu was afraid of encountering the awkward situation in the morning, so he quickly hid in the bedroom. Wang Yu, who was hiding in the bedroom surfing the internet, heard Molly muttering outside the door, "Big sis, we entered the game 3 days late. I didn't expect the competition to be so strong. Our leveling speed is so slow." Li Shui smiled and said, "That means there's money to be made in this game." "That's right. Did everyone see today's announcement? Someone actually killed a silver boss. For the entire day, I only killed wild dogs and wild bulls outside the village. I didn't even see what the boss looks like." Listening to the voice, it was Meng Meng speaking. Xiaoyi said, "Bosses are things that can only be found by chance. But that player who killed the boss is really lucky." With the experience of killing the boss, he instantly leveled up to level 10. Molly grumbled, "Yeah, I just hooked a rich guy from the Scarlet Army. I was in their team farming wolves, but I was forced to go offline. What a bummer." Alright. Li Shui came out again and said, "As Rosette's second-line gold farming team, our main focus is to farm gold. As long as we have enough gold coins, we'll be fine. Bosses and whatnot are not something we can kill." Molly laughed and said, "Hee, I wonder how the charter manager is doing. Look at him. He's probably not even level 3 yet." Li Shui said, "Don't underestimate Bro Yu. Bro Yu is very skilled. After he gets used to the holographic mode, he'll definitely be stronger than us." "Is that so? I think his muscles are pretty good too. I really want to touch them." "Is that so? I want to touch them too. Big sis, why is your face red? Don't tell me you want to touch them too." Wang Yu heard this and was speechless. He felt that he had not just recruited 4 tenants, but 4 hungry wolves. Looking up at his watch, it was time for Mu Zixian to get off work. Wang Yu picked up the bank card and looked at it deeply before putting it in his pocket. Not long after, Mu Zixian returned, carrying a large pile of food into the kitchen. Wang Yu followed up and said, "Dear, it's not time to eat yet. Why are you cooking?" Mu Zixian said, "I have to go to the dining hall to help out later. I'll prepare the meal for you first, so that you won't end up like yesterday, not even having anything to eat." Mu Zixian had left in a hurry yesterday. It was only when she got off work that she remembered that her husband hadn't eaten yet. Fortunately, there were a few new tenants. Otherwise, Wang Yu would have to go hungry. Mu Zixian knew Wang Yu's temper. He was not arrogant, but he had his pride. Even if he were to starve to death, he would not take the initiative to freeload. Mu Zixian took out the food to wash and said, "I'll put the rice in the thermos. When you're hungry, take it out and eat. Leave the bowl on the table. I'll come back to clean up." Wang Yu took the food from Mu Zixian's hands. Then, he held Mu Zixian's wet hand and said, "Honey, don't go today. Let's go out to eat. I want to walk around." Mu Zixian heard this and showed a trace of doubt. Then, she said awkwardly, "All right, I'll give the restaurant a call." 80 yuan was almost half a day's salary. If Wang Yu had not taken the initiative to take a walk, Mu Zixian would never have asked for leave. And Wang Yu nodded. Wang Yu brought Mu Zixian to a luxurious restaurant in the city center. He pulled Mu Zixian into the restaurant. Mu Zixian looked a little flustered as she whispered, "Honey, I don't have much money left after paying the property management fees. If you want to eat here, we can come back next month when I get my salary." Mu Zixian knew about this restaurant. A plate of fried rice cost 80 yuan. With Wang Yu's appetite, he probably wouldn't be able to leave the house without a few thousand yuan. Wang Yu smiled and said, "Honey, your company's game is pretty good. I've earned some money from it. I'll treat you to a meal." "Is that so?" Mu Zixian was slightly stunned. "Then you can keep it to spend. It's such a waste. If a man goes out without money, he'll lose face." Wang Yu said, "It's all right. I can earn more money. I only have one wife. If I don't earn money for her, who should I spend it on?" "You look honest, but your mouth is so smooth." Hearing Wang Yu's words, Mu Zixin felt a tinge of sweetness in her heart. Wang Yu smiled and didn't say anything. After the meal, Wang Yu brought Mu Zixin to Zhenhua Commercial Building. "Honey, let's buy some clothes." "Sure. I think you should buy some clothes too," Mu Zixin said as she pulled Wang Yu straight to the men's section. When they passed by the women's section, Wang Yu stopped them. "What's wrong?" "I'll buy it here," Wang Yu said stubbornly. Mu Zixin smiled. "I don't lack clothes. There's air conditioning in the company," Wang Yu said. "I don't lack money either." Mu Zixin said strangely, "Honey, I realize that you're different from before." "There's no difference. It's just that I didn't have the courage to say these words before." A hint of bitterness flashed across Wang Yu's face. Wang Yu had lived a luxurious life since he was young. He had never worried about money. He had been married to Mu Zixin for half a year. If it weren't for what happened 2 months ago, he still wouldn't have the concept of money. 2 months ago, it was here that Mu Zixin stared at a piece of clothing for a long time, but she didn't buy it. The clothes weren't expensive. It was only about 1,000 yuan. Every time she came here to shop, Mu Zixin would stop for a while, then she would grit her teeth and walk over. Mu Zixin had never hesitated to buy clothes for Wang Yu. She was willing to spend any amount of money, but she couldn't bear to buy herself a winter dress. No matter how simple Wang Yu was, he knew that clothes were a woman's face. A woman who wore the same clothes all year round, no matter how beautiful she was, couldn't hold her head high in her circle of friends. So from that day onwards, Wang Yu was determined to work hard to earn money. He wanted to use his own money to buy the clothes for Mu Zixin. Mu Zixin said gently, "Hubby, I'm very happy that you have such intentions. In the future, when we have a child, I want him to practice martial arts. When the time comes, equipment will be another expense," Wang Yu said with a smile. "It's all right. I'm a man and a warrior at that. In the future, I'll support this family. This is a man's responsibility." "Hey, isn't this Kung Fu brother?" Just as Wang Yu and Mu Zixin were speaking, a very annoying voice was heard. Looking towards the source of the voice, Wang Yu saw a bespectacled man. The man looked very familiar. Behind him was a 17-year-old girl. At that moment, she was sizing up Mu Zixin in a wretched manner. She mumbled, "I couldn't tell that an illiterate person could find such a beautiful girlfriend." "You are?" Wang Yu asked in puzzlement. The bespectacled man said, "Have you forgotten? We met at the talent building." With that said, the bespectacled man turned his head and said to the girl behind him, "See? This is the Kung Fu brother I told you about." "Ha!" When the girl heard that, she covered her mouth and laughed. She looked at Wang Yu as though she was looking at a madman. This ear-piercing mockery immediately made Wang Yu recall that the bespectacled man was the recruitment officer he had met at the talent building yesterday. The bespectacled man laughed again. "Kung Fu brother, you brought your girlfriend to buy clothes. You should go to Pedestrian Street. Can you afford it here?" Pedestrian Street was a famous wholesale market in the city. The clothes there were rather cheap and of poor quality. However, there were many styles, so it was the first choice of commoners. "Are you sick?" When Mu Zixin heard the bespectacled man mock Wang Yu, she immediately became unhappy as she rushed forward to scold him. The bespectacled man's face darkened as he said with a sneer, "Heh, young lady, I think you look pretty good. Finding a random man is better than finding a lunatic. What do you think of me? I can buy whatever kind of clothes you want here." When she heard the bespectacled man say that, the little girl behind him was unhappy as she pouted, "Director Wang, you are so bad. You actually hooked up with another woman in front of me." The bespectacled man laughed wretchedly. "It's all right. I will still love you. When the time comes, the three of us, scram." A calm voice entered the bespectacled man's ears. It was like a lightning strike that interrupted his obscenities. The bespectacled man was shocked. He looked up and realized that the person who spoke was Wang Yu. "What's wrong, Kung Fu brother? Are you unhappy with a joke?" The bespectacled man pretended to be indifferent. Scram! Don't make me hit you. Wang Yu stared at the bespectacled man and said. There were two things that Wang Yu hated the most in his life. One was insulting his kung fu, and the other was insulting his woman. This bespectacled man had actually poked Wang Yu's reverse scale. Even if Wang Yu had a good upbringing, he was truly enraged at this moment. When the bespectacled man was stared at by Wang Yu, he felt a chill in his heart. He measured the gap between them and was so scared that he took a few steps back. Mu Zixin was afraid that Wang Yu would cause trouble. She immediately said to the bespectacled man coldly, "My husband is rich. He doesn't need your kindness." The bespectacled man laughed. "Is that so? Looking at his appearance, I'm afraid that he can't even take out 100 yuan in his pocket." He had personally witnessed Wang Yu's embarrassment. "Husband, let's go. There's no need to stoop to this scum's level." Mu Zixin pulled Wang Yu and was about to leave. Wang Yu smiled and took out his bank card from his pocket. He pointed at the clothes that Mu Zixin had her eyes on and said to the attendant, "I want this one. And that one, give me one of them." As Wang Yu said this, he pointed at the other styles. These were the ones that Mu Zixin had her eyes on. When the bespectacled man heard this, he was stunned. Although the clothes here weren't expensive, they were still around 1,000 to 5,000 yuan. If an ordinary working class wanted to buy one, they would have to scrimp and save to buy one. This big guy had a face of embarrassment yesterday. Today, he actually opened his mouth to spend tens of thousands of yuan on clothes. The bespectacled man's worldview was immediately turned upside down. The bespectacled man was only a middle-level employee of a company. His monthly salary was only 10 or 20,000 yuan. He didn't dare to imagine spending so much money to buy clothes for a woman. "Husband, are you crazy?" Mu Zixin saw that Wang Yu had casually spent tens of thousands of yuan. She tugged at the corner of Wang Yu's clothes and whispered. Wang Yu said lightly, "Wife, don't forget what I do. When it comes to money, I've never been afraid of anyone." A piece of clothing in the game cost tens of thousands of yuan. In reality, spending tens of thousands of yuan to buy clothes for his wife was completely reasonable. When Mu Zixin heard Wang Yu's words, a trace of worry flashed across her face, but she didn't say anything else. When he heard Wang Yu's words, the bespectacled man was scared out of his wits. What does this kid do? Could it be? Chapter 13. On the way back, Mu Zixin was sullen. Wang Yu was puzzled. "What's the matter, wife? Are you unhappy?" Under the streetlight, Mu Zixin raised her head. Her eyes were red as she choked and said, "Hubby, are you leaving me?" Confused, Wang Yu said, "What are you talking about? Why should I leave you?" Mu Zixin said, "If you're not going back, where did you get the money from?" "Oh, so that's what you're worried about." Wang Yu smiled. "Didn't I tell you? I earned it in the game." "You earned so much in one day? Who would believe that?" Mu Zixin knew that Wang Yu wouldn't lie, but she still didn't believe it when she heard Wang Yu say that. Wang Yu said, "It's true. I completed the mission today and dropped a few pieces of equipment. I didn't expect the equipment in the game to be so valuable." "Really?" Mu Zixin asked excitedly. "Really?" Mu Zixin smiled through her tears. She pounded Wang Yu's chest and said, "Stupid hubby, you didn't tell me that you earned money. I thought you didn't want me anymore." Wang Yu pulled Mu Zixin into his arms and said, "Wife, from the day I left home, I never thought of leaving you. I will repay you for the happiness I owe you bit by bit." When they got home, the four ladies were lying on the sofa with their computers in their hands, browsing the forum. They were chattering excitedly about something. Seeing Wang Yu and Mu Zixin walk in hand, Li Shui looked up and smiled. "Brother Yu and sister-in-law have such a good relationship," Wang Yu smiled and asked. "I heard you shouting in the corridor. What happened?" "Landlord, didn't you see the forum? It's amazing!" Molly yelled. "What's so great about it?" Wang Yu was confused. Molly's words were always so bold and imaginative. Molly yelled, "Look at the forum. I didn't expect there to be such an expert in the game. If I knew who that expert was, I would definitely marry him." Xiao Yi smiled and said, "What if he has a wife?" Molly said firmly, "I don't mind being the second wife." Everyone. Wang Yu smiled and said, "Then work hard towards this goal. We're going to sleep." As he spoke, he pulled Mu Zixin back to the bedroom. Listening to the chattering of the girls outside, Mu Zixin could not help but ask curiously, "Hubby, what kind of expert can make them so crazy?" Wang Yu said, "I don't know. I've been doing quests all afternoon and didn't check the forums. Let me have a look at the computer." "Alright." As he spoke, Wang Yu reached out and dragged the computer on the table into the blanket. Wang Yu hugged Mu Zixin with one arm and clumsily typed on the keyboard with the other hand, opening the official forum. In the morning, Wang Yu had also browsed the forum for a while. On the front page of the forum, there were mostly posts about professions or showing off their equipment and levels. However, at this time, there were two video posts that were very popular. The one at the top, shocking extreme skills, soloing the Silver Moon Wolf King, had tens of millions of views. Wang Yu could not help but be stunned. Soloing the Silver Moon Wolf King? Isn't that me? When did someone secretly take a picture of me? He clicked on it and, as expected, that burly and agile figure, the dreamy footwork, and the attacks that came at every opportunity. Who else could it be but Wang Yu? The players below all recognized him. 1. Is this Guru Iron Ox? 2. Duh, other than Guru Iron Ox, who else in the game has killed the Silver Moon Wolf King? 3. It's a soloing? Is he cheating? 4. This Wolf King looks so awkward. This player has good eyesight. Below that were some irrelevant and meaningless word. After watching the video for a while, Mu Zixin asked in surprise, "Hubby, why do I feel that this person looks so much like you?" Although the person who took the video had erased Wang Yu's appearance and replaced it with an ordinary face, Mu Zixin and Wang Yu had been together for a long time. How could she not recognize him? Wang Yu smiled bitterly. "This is me. F***ck, let's not rent this house anymore." Mu Zixin was stunned when she heard that. She was about to get up and walk out. Meow, there were people outside shouting that they were trying to steal her husband. She could not tolerate it. Wang Yu hurriedly pulled her back. "Don't take a kid's nonsense seriously. Don't you know what kind of person I am? You are not allowed to talk to her in the future, do you hear me?" I know. While persuading Mu Zixin, Wang Yu clicked on another post. This post was also a video, but the title was very arrogant. It was called 10 Steps to Kill a Man, 1,000 Miles Invincible, Brushing Clothes Away, Hiding Merits and Fame. Although it did not have as many views as the first video, it still had more than a few million views. When he clicked on the video, Wang Yu almost cursed out loud. Why was it him again? The paparazzi in the game were really everywhere. This video was the scene of Wang Yu completing the village mission. Wang Yu alone broke through the blockade of more than 10 players, forced his way into the monster area, killed the small monsters in a few moves, and while completing the mission, he conveniently sent away an enemy player, then left in a carefree manner. Especially in the video there was the whole story. The people of the apocalypse occupied the monster area to guard the boss, and a mysterious expert saw injustice and taught the villains a lesson, adding a strong sense of chivalry to the video. At the end of the video, the people of the apocalypse were all wiped out, which made everyone exclaim in satisfaction. The apocalypse was a famous guild in the Huaxia region, and their behavior was quite tyrannical. Surrounding the boss, seizing territory, these were all things they often did. Unfortunately, they had the advantage in numbers, and they had many experts, so no one wanted to provoke them. Now that they saw the people of the apocalypse being slapped in the face, and the players who were bullied, the comments below the post were all cheering. However, there was also a player who was ingenious and posted a poll. Who is better, God Iron Ox or Novice Village Hero? This kind of boring comparison actually had many people following it. In this era where heroes were needed, Novice Village Hero was still relatively popular. Even if God Iron Ox had soloed a boss, his reputation was not as high as Novice Village Hero, so the Novice Village Hero actually exceeded God Iron Ox. This caused God Iron Ox's fans to be quite dissatisfied, and the two sides actually started cursing, making Wang Yu not know whether to laugh or cry. There were people who knew the truth, and a guy with the ID Blue Ocean Dragon Wanyan Air replied below. God Iron Ox is Novice Village Hero, he personally added me as a friend. However, his voice did not resonate at all, and instead was swallowed by the ridicule. Haha, God Iron Ox added you as a friend? Who do you think you are? That's right, even though I feel that God Iron Ox is not as good as Novice Village Hero, but God Iron Ox shouldn't have fallen to the point of rushing to add you as a friend. Upstairs, tell me clearly, who is better? How about we find a place to compete? Looking at the speechless and helpless expression on Wang Yu's face, Mu Zixin laughed and said, Haha, I didn't expect you to turn the forum upside down on your first day playing the game. Turning off the computer, Wang Yu wiped his cold sweat and said with lingering fear, I really didn't expect the players nowadays to be so hostile, they can spit out even the smallest of things. Haha, great hero Iron Bull, are you scared by the fans? Wang Yu said stubbornly, how is that possible? I'm invincible, I've never been afraid of anyone. Chapter 14. The next morning, after breakfast, Mu Zixin went to work. Wang Yu was not in a hurry to enter the game. Instead, he logged into the official website to check on the update. This was also a habit that Wang Yu had developed since he was young. Before doing anything, he had to understand the situation in detail. Since he had the intention to develop in the game, he had to treat himself as a professional gamer. The new expansion pack was called Calamity's Descent. The gist of the expansion pack was that the power of darkness had engulfed the reborn continent. All living creatures outside the main human cities had been demonized. Various job classes were required to search for the source of darkness and so on. It was a rather cliched but everlasting theme for the game. The game opened up the main city system. Due to the large capacity of the system, the beginner village was divided into more than 300 main cities. These 300 main cities were like the server in traditional games. After level 10, players of any class could change their class in the main city. The class branches would also begin at level 10. Warriors were divided into two categories: shield warriors with strong defense and weapon warriors who pursued attack output. Mages were divided into two categories: ice mages who focused on control, and lightning mages who focused on attack. Thieves were divided into two categories: assassins who dealt damage and godly thieves who picked lock. Priests were divided into light priests who majored in support, and dark warlocks who majored in corruption and darkness. Knights were divided into two categories: guardian knights for defense and retribution knights for offense. Archers were divided into two groups: lurkers who specialized in traps and marksmen who specialized in attack. Grandmasters of combat were divided into strikers who focused on physical attacks and chi masters who focused on magical attack. Other than the Grandmaster of combat, which was still miserable, all professions would obtain the corresponding weapon mastery and armor mastery. After the class advancement, players could redistribute their attribute points according to their class advancement. Every class system would have a unique hidden class. As for the specific method to obtain it, it would take time to figure it out. The system was divided into 5 modes: normal, elite, abyss, nightmare, and hell. Open leaderboards. Players who are LV10 and above can look up the World Expert rankings. These updates were similar to traditional keyboard games. Normal players didn't need to know about them at all and could go to the official website to research. However, as a newbie, Wang Yu still needed to understand them. When he logged on again, Wang Yu appeared in front of the village chief. After the brief conversation with the village chief, Wang Yu felt the scene flash, and he arrived in a majestic main city. Since the background of the game was about swords and magic, the main city was built in the European medieval style, which was very simple and elegant. The entire main city was mainly reddish-brown, which made it look very desolate. System notification: discovered Yu Huiqing, obtained 1000 experience. So this main city was called Yu Huiqing. Looking out of the city, there was indeed a sunset hanging in the western sky. The players were very diligent. While Wang Yu was browsing the official website, many players had already reached level 10 and changed their class. In Afterglow City, groups of 2s and 3s of players were walking out of the city. What Wang Yu wanted to do now was to change his class. Following the directions on the map, Wang Yu arrived at the place where the Grandmaster of Combat Class Advancement was located, the dojo. As soon as Wang Yu stepped into the dojo, the NPC's professional voice rang out, "Hello, hero. Are you here to change your class?" "Yes, I'm here to change my class," Wang Yu replied. "Please select your class branch," the NPC pugilist said. "This." Wang Yu hesitated and said, "Striker." Although Wang Yu liked both classes, he felt that he was more similar to a striker. The NPC asked, "Honorable hero, I can see that you have an extraordinary background. Are you sure you want to give up greater power and change your class to a striker?" "Huh?" With the NPC's reminder, Wang Yu suddenly remembered that he still had a class advancement quest, the second round of the Heart of a Warrior, the Path of Legacy. Change to the hidden class, Martial Artist. Legacy Token 1/1. Thinking of this, Wang Yu quickly denied it. He then took out the legacy token from his bag and said, "I want to change my class to a martial artist." Seeing the token in Wang Yu's hand, the NPC's eyes revealed a look of disbelief. He said in surprise, "No wonder I felt that you have a strong power on you. So you are a martial artist inheritor. You should know that the real martial artist is—" Wang Yu interrupted, "Then can I change my class?" "Honorable hero, forgive my incompetence, but martial artists are too strong. I know nothing about their power." "So you can't?" Wang Yu was speechless. This NPC said so much nonsense, but he still couldn't change his class. "Yes, hero." The NPC nodded, without a hint of shame on his face. "Sigh." Wang Yu sighed and turned to walk out of the dojo. When he reached the door, Wang Yu suddenly thought of something and asked, "Then who should I look for to change my class?" The NPC said, "Central Street's Hermit can guide you through the trial. F***CK. I knew it." Wang Yu cursed in her heart. It was said that designers were shameless. This guy was indeed shameless to a certain extent. Luckily, she had asked him about it. Otherwise, who knew when she would be able to change her job? "Thanks." Wang Yu cupped his fists at the NPC, opened the map, and walked to Central Street. Players were busy leveling up, so Central Street was very quiet. Other than the seemingly idle NPCs, there was almost no one else. Hermit, hermit. Wang Yu walked around Central Street 3 times, and finally found the so-called hermit in a dirty alley. Hermit's appearance was not very good. He had messy hair, a short and hunched body, and a tattered felt hat on his head. He was hugging a wine gourd, sleeping soundly in the alley. Seeing this scene, Wang Yu began to sweat. Fighters were already very pitiful. They created a hidden class, but their master was like this. How much hatred did the designer have for fighters? "Hello, excuse me. Are you Hermit?" Wang Yu walked over and patted Hermit's shoulder. Half drunk and half awake, Hermit opened one eye, glanced at Wang Yu, and let out a drunken burp. He mumbled, "Go buy me a bottle of wine first." This NPC was really something. He had to buy him a bottle of wine just to talk to him. He's already like this, and he's still drinking. Wang Yu cursed in his heart. Even so, Wang Yu knew that this could be the so-called plot. He had no choice but to turn around and walk back to the tavern. Not long after, Wang Yu ran back with a bottle of wine. When they were still quite a distance away from the hermit, the old man suddenly sat up, raised his big red nose and shouted, "I smell the fragrance of wine." "Yes, the wine you wanted." Wang Yu bent down and respectfully handed the bottle to Hermit. This wine cost 1 gold coin per bottle, and Wang Yu's understanding of the game's scams increased by another level. Hermit accepted the wine with a smile and gulped it down. His eyes began to shine. After finishing a bottle of wine, Hermit was greatly refreshed. He blushed and said, "Young man, why are you looking for me?" Finally, the main topic. Wang Yu wiped his sweat and said, "I want to change my class to martial arts scholar." Hermit raised his eyebrows and said in disdain, "Oh? Just you? Who gave you the courage?" F***ck, a gold coin has been fed to a dog. Being looked down upon by an NPC, Wang Yu was depressed. He then took out the legacy token and said, "This is the legacy token." Hermit saw the token and said in surprise, "Oh? You actually got this? Alright, as long as you pass my trial, you can change your class to martial arts scholar." Wang Yu asked subconsciously, "What trial?" Hermit did not say anything. With a wave of his hand, Wang Yu was brought into another space, which was actually a dungeon. The space was not too big. It was just a sparring ring. Hermit swept away his previous dispiritedness and stood on the ring. He said in a deep and dignified manner, "It seems that you know nothing about true strength. Come, let me see your fighting style." "You mean I'll fight you?" "That's right." Hermit nodded. "This is the trial. It's too easy," Wang Yu said with a smile. When it came to fighting, Wang Yu had never been afraid of anyone. Even in the game, how strong could an NPC be? When Hermit heard this, he smiled faintly and attacked with extreme speed. Seeing Hermit's speed, Wang Yu was shocked. He had forgotten that he was limited by his attributes in the game. If his body could keep up with his eyes in real life, Wang Yu naturally would not feel any pressure. But in the game, Wang Yu was only level 13. Against a mentor NPC like Hermit, he was powerless. Faced with this situation, Wang Yu naturally could not retreat. Therefore, he did not retreat. Instead, he advanced. He wanted to fight Hermit until both of them were injured. Wang Yu dodged Hermit's attack with all his might. In an instant, he extended 2 fingers and pierced Hermit's eyes. Hermit was so shocked that he hurriedly retreated. Obviously, he was not willing to accept the result of both of them being injured. Good chance. Wang Yu seized the opportunity and dashed forward, engaging in close-range combat. At the end of the day, Hermit was an NPC, a character designed by the designer. The reason why he was strong was because of his attribute. Wang Yu was a martial arts genius. When he was in his teens, he was already invincible in China's martial arts circle. Even the designer was also a martial arts practitioner. Compared to an expert like Wang Yu, there was no telling how much of a difference there was. For a moment, Hermit was actually suppressed by Wang Yu's moves. Hermit was continuously attacked and was forced to retreat. A series of damage numbers appeared above his head. Seeing that he was about to be knocked off the ring, Hermit began to sweat. Finally, he could not hold on any longer and shouted, "Retreat!" As he shouted, a golden light flashed on Hermit's body. The golden light of tyrant armor pushed Wang Yu more than 10 meters away. Wang Yu did a backflip and landed steadily on the ground. "You brat, you're really ruthless." Hermit looked at Wang Yu and said while panting. As the highest level NPC, the trial system only allowed Hermit to use 15% of his strength. Even so, his attributes were still higher than a level 40 player. Therefore, this trial was not very strict. The system settings stated that no matter what method was used, even if it was kiting with a bow and arrow, Grandmasters of Combat could use weapons of all professions. As long as one could reduce 1/10 of Hermit's HP, one could pass. Who knew that Wang Yu would be so daring as to choose to face Hermit head-on? Not only that, he almost beat Hermit to death. If not for Hermit's sudden recovery and tyrant armor at the critical moment, he might have become the first mentor in Rebirth to be beaten to death by a player. Wang Yu chuckled and asked, "Can I pass?" "Pass. Pass." Hermit waved his hand helplessly. The dungeon disappeared and the two returned to the alley. At the same time, the system's voice sounded again. System notification. Congratulations on completing the second round of Warrior's Heart, Road of Legacy. Obtained 100,000 EXP, 200 reputation, obtained hidden profession, martial arts scholar. With a flash of golden light, a large amount of EXP allowed Wang Yu to rise to level 14. After level 8, the calculation of leveling up EXP became the normal 10% increment for each level. Chapter 15. The small Tai Chi insignia surprised Wang Yu. Before changing classes, Wang Yu did some research on the insignia of each class branch. For example, a striker's insignia was a small fist, and a Qigong master's insignia was a Qigong wave. The Tai Chi insignia with Eastern characteristics was rather incongruous in this world of swords and magic. Opening up the information, Wang Yu looked at the class description. Hidden class, martial artist passive skills. Talent, 7 free attribute points for every level up. Internal and external cultivation, can use all the skills of the Grandmaster of Combat class. Mastery, there is a chance to edit combo techniques into skills. 18 types of weapons, proficiency in all types of weapons. After equipping a weapon, attack power increases by 10%. Seeing the class description, Wang Yu was stunned. Even though Wang Yu had never played online games before, as long as he wasn't an idiot, he could see the power of this class. Wang Yu's talent allowed her to gain 2 more attributes than ordinary players. She also cultivated both internal and external combat, allowing her to learn half as many skills as normal players. Even a noob player could become an expert with these 2 conditions. Of course, Wang Yu didn't really care about these 2 points, because his strength couldn't be measured by game attribute. What excited Wang Yu the most was his mastery of the technique. This was because this skill was practically made for Wang Yu. As mentioned before, the technical content of the Grandmaster of Combat class depended on the skill of the designer. Therefore, in Wang Yu's eyes, the skills of the Grandmaster of Combat were rather shallow. Wang Yu himself was a player with a full set of combat skills, but the system had its own judgment. No matter how exquisite Wang Yu's moves were, they were still normal attacks in the eyes of the system. With mastery, Wang Yu's martial arts could be edited into skills. At that time, Wang Yu's attacks would have the system's judgment. Therefore, mastery might be useless in the eyes of others, but in Wang Yu's eyes, it was a godly skill. But what was up with this 18 types of weapons? It completely went against the system's settings. Didn't they say that Grandmasters of Combat didn't have weapon proficiency? How did you get an all-weapon mastery? Wang Yu asked Hermit doubtfully. The Hermit said coldly, "Those ignorant Grandmasters of Combat have completely abandoned the qualities that a martial artist should have for the sake of a stupid ideology. As a martial artist, if you're not proficient in all kinds of weapons, how can you live up to the word martial arts?" "Yes, you are right." Wang Yu nodded. He remembered that when he was choosing a Grandmaster of Combat, he had indeed seen the professional philosophy of a Grandmaster of Combat: "My fists and feet are my weapons, and my inner breath is my armor." No wonder the system didn't equip Grandmasters of Combat with mastery equipment. This was too arrogant. The next step was to learn skills. Learning skills was not free, not to mention a hidden profession like martial arts scholar that covered 2 professions. Learning the skill would be quite costly. Although Wang Yu was poor in reality, in the game, Wang Yu was one of the few tycoons with a high net worth. while others were still risking their lives doing quests all over the mountains for a single gold coin. Wang Yu's net worth had already exceeded 30 gold coins. In the early stages of the game before the RMB exchange rate was introduced, other than the leaders of the major guilds, there were probably not many in the entire game who had more gold coins than Wang Yu. In Rebirth, every profession would have a skill every 5 levels, but in Wang Yu's skill tree, there was only one skill, sidekick, and it was a gift from the system. After spending 30 silver coins, Wang Yu learned level 5 collapsing fist, level 10 striker's knee strike, and Qi master's Qi wave. Now Wang Yu's attributes were, ID, Iron Ox, Martial Artist, Hidden, Level, LV 14 HP, 510 17 by 30 MP, 480 16 by 30 Strength, 18 Vitality, 17 Spirit, 16 Intelligence, 16 Agility, 18 Attack, 94-110 Mana, 74-83 Physical Defense, 30-40 Magic Defense, 28-38 remaining Omni Points, 91 Equipment, Warrior's Sai Gauntlet, Silver, Damaged, Upgradable, Attack, 40-40 Mana, 40-40 Haste, Attack Speed increased by 20% Splash, 10% damage dealt to nearby units, up to a maximum of 60% of attack power. Special skills, Devour, can fuse with weapons of the same level to repair oneself and level up. Level requirement, 1 tattered coarse clothes physical defense, 1-1 level requirement, 1 blessing of the Wolf King necklace, gold, attack, 31-42 magic, 15-19 focus. MP recovers 3 per second recovery, HP recovers 1% of max HP per second bonus skill, Silver Wolf Charge. Summons 7 Wolf Kings to attack the enemy at the same time. Each Wolf King deals damage equal to the user's strength x3. Cooldown, 6 hours. Level requirement, 10 Shadow of the Wolf King boots, silver, physical defense, 16-22 magic defense. 16-22 increases movement speed by 7% haste, attack speed increased by 10% ghost, movement speed increased by 200% for 3 seconds. Cooldown, 180 seconds. Level requirement, 10 skills. Side kick, level 2 a powerful kick from a Grandmaster of Combat deals 130% of physical damage. Sends it flying. Consumes MP 30. Collapsing Fist, Level 2 a powerful attack from a Grandmaster of Combat deals 125% of physical damage. Stun effect. Consumes MP 30. Knee Strike, Level 1 a striker grabs an enemy in front of him and knocks him with his knee, dealing 150% of physical damage. Forceful Grab, Instant Overlord. Consumes MP 50. Qi Wave, Level 1 a Qi Master materializes internal energy and shoots it at the enemy in front of him, dealing 160% of magic damage. Consumes MP 50. After the class change, all the free attributes were reset. A normal level 14 player had a total of 65 free attribute. Wang Yu had a hidden class, so he had 91 free attribute. Wang Yu finished distributing the attributes according to the 3 strength, 2 agility, and 2 intelligence. His attack power reached 144, and his magic attack reached 111. There was probably no other player in the game who had Wang Yu's attributes when they were in their 20s. After the class change, Wang Yu looked at the quest window. There were no follow-up quests for Brave's Heart, and the main quest was to find a mentor after he reached level 15. Now, what Wang Yu needed to do was to level up and reach level 15. After reaching level 15, not only could he do quests, but he could also do dungeons. Wang Yu had seen the introduction on the official website. It was said that all the good items and EXP could be found in dungeons. However, Wang Yu still didn't understand what a dungeon was. After all, when it came to the game, Wang Yu was a complete noob. At this time, there were more and more players in Yuhuiqing. Even on the central street, There were players in 2s and 3s busily grinding their trade skills in shop. After opening the game map, Wang Yu confirmed the direction and left the city. In the dense forest outside of Yu Huiqing, the monsters were mostly level 10 thieves and level 12 brawlers. They didn't have high defense and health, but they had many attacks and special skills. They were very difficult to fight. Even if players formed teams, they would have a hard time killing them. Unfortunately, these monsters had a high chance of dropping silver coins, so they were good targets in the early stages of the game. Wang Yu didn't lack that bit of money, nor did he care about that bit of EXP. After passing through the periphery of the forest, he arrived at the depths of the forest. The deeper he went, the higher the level of the monsters. The monsters in the depths of the forest were level 15 goblins. Naturally, Wang Yu wasn't interested in these short and ugly fellows. Just as he was about to continue forward, Wang Yu suddenly heard a commotion. Amidst the commotion, there seemed to be a woman's scream. Wang Yu was slightly surprised. He followed the sound and saw 5 goblins chasing 3 girls in an empty space not far away. These 5 goblins were completely different from normal goblins. Normal goblins were green and very ugly. Of these 5 goblins, 2 were red, 2 were blue, and the biggest one was gray. Wang Yu threw an appraisal over. Goblin Lord, level 15, Bronze, Boss, HP, 5000 MP, 2000 skills. Lightning Fall, Throwfrost Goblin, level 15, Elite, HP, 3000 MP, 1000 skills. Ice Arrow, Ice Armor Flaming Goblin, level 15, Elite, HP, 3000 MP, 1000 skills. Fire Arrow, Fire Armor. The 5 goblins chased and shouted. The 3 girls ran and occasionally turned back to fight back. The battle was very intense. In the goblin team, frost goblins had a speed reduction effect. As long as they were hit by an ice arrow, their movement would be slowed. Seeing that the girls were about to be caught up by the group of goblins, Wang Yu silently rushed up and kicked one of the frost goblins in the face, sending it flying. Then, Wang Yu extended his hand and grabbed the goblin's neck, then used a collapsing fist on the frost goblin's chest. 864-1036-1210-104 blood-red numbers appeared above the frost goblin's head. The frost goblin instantly turned into a white light. When the collapsing fist reached 160%, there would be a penetrating effect. Another frost goblin was standing closer, so its HP was reduced to half. Due to the splash effect of the boxing gloves, the other goblins had their HP reduced by a small amount. Wang Yu's high output instantly shifted the goblins' aggro. The remaining 4 goblins shouted and threw their skills at Wang Yu. The system's attacks were rigid and had a fixed direction. How could it hit Wang Yu? Wang Yu twisted his legs and turned his body, dodging the 4 skills. With a backhand, he grabbed the head of the nearest frost goblin and smashed it to the ground. Then, Wang Yu leapt up. Duong! 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 He kicked the goblin's head 3 times. This half-health goblin didn't even have time to scream. He followed his companions and ran. Once his skills were off cooldown, Wang Yu rushed in front of the 2 flame goblins. The scene repeated itself. The 2 flame goblins also turned into experience without any effort. Seeing his subordinates die, the goblin boss shouted. Boom! A bolt of lightning fell from the sky. Wang Yu hurriedly moved to the side, and the lightning struck his side. Without waiting for the boss to recover from the stun, Wang Yu had already jumped in front of the boss. The boss was about to cast another skill when Wang Yu stretched out both his arms and pulled the boss into his embrace. Knee strike, side kick, collapsing fist, vital strike. After a series of attacks, the boss was thrown by Wang Yu behind him. It only had a sliver of HP left. This was the tragedy of humanoid monsters, they were vulnerable to control skills. Wang Yu didn't even turn his head. His right hand suddenly stretched out and pressed against the boss's face. Chi wave. Bang! Chapter 16. Shocking! Shocking! From the moment Wang Yu suddenly appeared to the moment he killed all 5 monsters, only 10 or so seconds had passed. Wang Yu's moves were as smooth as flowing water, without the slightest hindrance. With just a few moves, he finished off all the target. Moreover, his movements were like a ghost. Not only did he dodge the goblin's long-range attacks, he even dodged the instantaneous lightning strike, such an unimaginable attack method. In addition to such frightening damage output, the 3 female players were all stunned. After a long while, one of the paladins holding a scepter mumbled, "I'm not dreaming, right? Did that Grandmaster of Combat kill the boss in one shot? How is this possible? How can his attack be so high?" The warlock who had been in charge of the damage output position was shocked. It must be known that the current players were only around level 10, even the violent assassins who were famous for their instantaneous damage output would at most deal around 300 damage to a level 15 boss after a set of skills, and that was if it was an effective damage output. But this Grandmaster of Combat in front of them, with a set of combo attacks, instantly killed the boss with 5,000 HP. Although the boss HP had been reduced by the 3 of them, it was still above 4,000. This kind of frightening attack power was simply unheard of. "Are you guys okay?" Wang Yu turned around and asked softly. "No, we're fine." The 3 of them were still in shock. "Oh," Wang Yu replied, lowering his head to pick up the items dropped by the boss. The boss dropped 2 books and a weapon. The weapon was flashing green. It was a bronze weapon. Poison Creation. Rare skill book for creating poisons. Class requirement: Warlock. Rune Creation. Rare skill book for creating runes. Class requirement: Paladin. Goblin's Glory Warblade. Bronze. Attack: 15-19 Magic. 7-12 Lightning Strike. Attacks have a 20% chance of adding lightning attack, can paralyze the target. Level requirement: 15. Looking at the attributes of these 3 items, Wang Yu couldn't help but twitch his mouth. A pile of trash, this brat was truly a well-fed man who didn't know the hunger of a starving man. In this era where even steel-grade equipment was rare, he actually dared to say that bronze-grade equipment was trash. In the entire game, only Wang Yu would dare to say such a thing. Trash was better than nothing. At least it could be sold for money. Wang Yu comforted himself and was about to throw it into his backpack. At this time, the younger warrior with the greatsword in his hand had also reacted. He pointed at Wang Yu and shouted, "Damn it, how dare you steal the kill?" "Kill steal?" Wang Yu was taken aback. "I'm really sorry, I thought you guys—" As he spoke, Wang Yu held on to the item that the boss dropped. He didn't put it back into his bag, but instead, handed it over. Even though Wang Yu was new to the game, he had been in the beginner's village before. Naturally, he knew that killing stealing was very immoral. "Ah?" Seeing Wang Yu hand over all the items dropped by the boss, the 3 players were stunned once again. The bronze-grade weapon was still alright. After the opening of the level 15 instance dungeon, bronze-grade equipment could be produced in large quantities. However, the 2 skill books were different. Warlocks mainly used poison attacks to reduce their HP, while knights used runes to increase the ATK of their teammate. Poison and runes were both essential consumables. Before learning poison making and rune making, they could only be purchased from the instructor. The copper coins obtained from killing monsters weren't even enough to buy MP and HP. They also had to buy poison and runes, which was undoubtedly a huge burden. Therefore, these 2 skill books were extremely precious. Because Rebirth was a simulation of all classes, it completely broke away from the keyboard and mouse controls of the past. Instead, the players had to do it personally. As such, the difficulty of the game increased by a lot. Therefore, in order to level up and kill monsters, they had to form a party. The drop rate in the game was already extremely low. The drop rate was even lower when killing monsters in a party. Skill books were also rare items. Killing 10 bosses might not even result in 1 drop. The reason why this goblin dropped 2 skill books at once was because it was a wild boss, and it was killed by Wang Yu alone. Most importantly, it was the first kill of this boss. In the current market, these 2 skill books could be sold for a sky-high price. Such precious items, and this Grandmaster of Combat actually handed them over so casually. The 3 people's worldview was once again strongly washed away. "This is really for us?" the warlock lady asked in disbelief. Wang Yu nodded and said indifferently, "The blame is yours. I don't need this trash. Since you want it, take it." The 3 players were instantly petrified. "Trash." He said, "It's trash. Why? If you don't want it, I'll sell it." Seeing that the 3 of them didn't move, Wang Yu paused and said, "Yes, yes." The 3 girls hurriedly ran in front of Wang Yu and took the things from Wang Yu's hands. When they held the skill books in their hands, they still felt like they were in a dream. The warlock lady took the skill book of her dreams and said gratefully, "My name is Bloody Rose. These 2 are Bloody Rose and Bloody Rhododendron. We are all from the Rosette Corps." When she said the name of her corps, Bloody Rose's face had a hint of pride. The Rosette Corps was considered one of the big guilds in the Huaxia region. Wang Yu said indifferently. Seeing Wang Yu's indifferent expression, Bloody Rose was a little disappointed, but she still asked, "May I know your name, expert brother?" "I'm Iron Ox," Wang Yu replied. "Tisk tsk, I heard that the people from Chuanjin are all crazy. It seems like it's true. No wonder he doesn't know if he has a guild or not. That's right, I'm a martial arts master." Wang Yu was proud of himself. After all, he had been practicing martial arts for so many years. Only in the game could he truly see the benefits of martial arts. He. The 3 girls were sweating profusely. They laughed a few times and said, "Bull God, do you want to train with us?" Wang Yu waved his hand and said, "There's no need for that. I'm used to training alone." "That's a pity," the girls said with a hint of disappointment. Wang Yu said righteously, "There's nothing to pity about. The path of a martial arts practitioner has always been lonely." After hearing Wang Yu's words, the 3 girls had goosebumps all over their bodies. They quickly said, "If that's the case, we won't disturb you anymore. We'll treat you to a drink when we have time." As they spoke, the 3 girls sent a friend request to Wang Yu. After Wang Yu accepted it, he nodded and said with a smile, "Then we'll meet again if fate wills it." "Yes." The 3 girls nodded in horror. Wang Yu turned around and disappeared into the dense forest. Looking at Wang Yu's disappearing figure, the 3 girls sighed and said, "What a pity. Such a strong martial arts master has something wrong with his brain." Paladin Crimson Azalea said, "But it's all thanks to Guru Iron Ox. We finally got these 2 books, and they even came with a bronze weapon." Crimson Rose nodded, "That's right. If Guru Iron Ox has any difficulties in the future, we should do our best to help him." Chapter 17. After passing through the forest, he arrived at the outskirts of Yu Huiqing's territory, Sunset Canyon. In the game's background, Sunset Canyon was the lair of Yu Huiqing's famous Sunset Bandits. There were LV-20 Sunset Bandits, LV-23 Sunset Gangsters, and LV-25 Sunset Bandits everywhere. Although the humanoid NPCs in Rebirth had low HP, they were the most disgusting. Who knew what the game designers were thinking, but these humanoid monsters were the same as players. They formed parties of 3 with tanks, damage dealers, and healers. As soon as Wang Yu entered Sunset Canyon, he was surrounded by a group of monsters. Sunset Bandit, LV-20, HP, 3000 MP, 500 skills. Crossbow Shot, Poison Attack, Continuous HP, Sunset Gangster, LV-23, HP 2, 500 MP 2, 500 skills. Rock Fling Blind, Bandage Sunset Bandit, LV-25, HP 4, 500 MP, 200 skills. Firm, Smash. Just from the introduction, one could tell how bad the game designers were. especially that Sunset Bandit. Not only could he recover HP, but he also had a blind skill. In Rebirth, a blind skill was quite annoying, as it could cause a player's attack to miss. Yo, where did this brat come from? How dare you mess around in my territory? Eat my blade. As Wang Yu inspected the stats of the three monsters, the Sunset Bandit yelled and swung his blade at him. The Sunset Bandit followed closely behind, aiming at Wang Yu and raising his crossbow. Wang Yu sidestepped and dodged the Sunset Bandit's blade. At the same time, he swatted away the Sunset Bandit's crossbow and rushed straight at the Sunset Bandit. The Sunset Bandit could control and heal, so he had to be killed first. Seeing that Wang Yu was charging at him again, the Sunset Bandit reached for his waist with his right hand and tossed something. A white mist appeared in front of Wang Yu. Rock fling. Hee hee. Wang Yu laughed coldly. He passed through the white mist and landed a burst fist on the apocalyptic bandit's cheek, causing him to freeze on the spot. Blind was useful against ordinary players, but it was completely useless against Wang Yu. Against a stealth thief, Wang Yu was able to accurately determine his position by relying on his killing intent and the flow of his aura, let alone a little hoodlum who had already determined his position from the start. Sidekick knockout a choke blow. 638-824-1123-103 attacks with a 160% completion rate and above instantly killed the Sunset Brawler, who only had 2,500 HP left. Wang Yu dodged the second wave of attacks from the Sunset Bandit and Sunset Thief. Then, he reached out and pulled the Sunset Thief into his embrace. After another flurry of attacks, the Sunset Thief let out a miserable cry and died. Sturdy! The Sunset Bandit roared, his body glowing with a golden light. However, to Wang Yu, it was nothing more than a decoration. When his attack reached 110% completion rate and above, he could ignore defense. No matter how much HP the Sunset Bandits had, they were nothing more than a punching bag for Wang Yu. Sidekick. Choke. Collapsing fist. Knee strike. Chi wave. White light rose. Ding. The Sunset Bandit's broadsword fell to the ground. Ringblade, steel, attack. 19-24 mana. 0-0 level requirement. 25 Wang Yu picked it up and saw that it was trash on a whiteboard. He sighed and threw it into his bag. After all, the drop rate in the game was so low. Apart from fighting bosses, where else could he get such good equipment? Because they were killing monsters above their level and humanoid monsters, the three bandits gave a lot of experience. Moreover, each of them had dropped 2 silver coins. It seemed that they were quite successful in robbing houses. Lots of money and experience. This place is not bad. Jiang Fan was delighted. He swung his fist and rushed toward the next group of 3 bandits. Compared to beast-type monsters, Jiang Fan preferred humanoid monsters. After all, he had been practicing martial arts since he was young to deal with humans. Killing beasts was like butchers. The current players were only around level 11 or 12. In Yu Huiqing, only Wang Yu had the ability to kill monsters 10 levels above him. At this moment, the entire Sunset Canyon had become Wang Yu's killing field. Wang Yu's control over his skills was perfect. Every move had a completion rate of more than 150%. Every combo could take down a monster. Wang Yu quickly figured out the most efficient way to kill these low AI monsters. High attack power, precise and perfect techniques, and the most efficient way to farm monsters. In just a short while, all the monsters in Sunset Canyon had been killed by Wang Yu. Nowadays, players had to expend a lot of effort to kill monsters of the same level. Wang Yu's killing speed, which was 10 levels above him, was even faster than the system's respawn rate. This was shocking. After killing the last Sunset Bandit, Wang Yu reached level 15 as he wished. There were nearly 100 monsters in the Sunset Canyon, but they didn't drop any equipment. Instead, they dropped a lot of lime powder and poison. Although he felt that these items were useless, Selling them to the shop was also a source of income. Wang Yu, who never missed a chance to make money, stuffed them all into his backpack. Fortunately, the backpack in the game could stack up to 99 materials. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to store so much trash. Damn it, who killed my subordinates? Wang Yu sat cross-legged. Just as he was about to recover his MP, a bitter and mournful howl came from the depths of the Sunset Canyon. Hearing the sound, Wang Yu's eyes lit up. He exclaimed in surprise, "It's the boss!" Before Wang Yu's words could fade away, a huge sunset bandit in bright armor crawled out of the cracks in the rocks. Respawned. Wang Yu cast a detect spell. Sunset Bandit, Urtus. LV? Boss, Silver. HP 200,000 MP. 1500 skills. Charge, Collapsing Mountain, Whirlwind Slash. Wang Yu was slightly stunned when he saw the boss's attributes. The level was actually a question mark. In Rebirth, only those who were 20 levels higher than the player would have a question mark. It seemed that this boss was at least level 35. More importantly, this boss had a name. 2 bosses had died in Wang Yu's hands. This was the first time he had seen a boss with a name. "So it's you, you bastard. How dare you kill my subordinates? Die." Urtus saw Wang Yu and chanted the system's opening words. Then, he charged at him. Wang Yu quickly jumped back. He didn't expect this boss to have a combo. After his charge missed, he actually used Collapsing Mountain to jump at Wang Yu's feet. Wang Yu was shocked. After landing, he suddenly increased his speed. His body turned into a shadow and barely avoided the attack. Wolf King's Boots skill, Ghost. Increases movement speed by 200% for 3 seconds. Cooldown time, 180 seconds. Urtus was relentless. After landing on the ground with Collapsing Mountain, he raised his hand and used Whirlwind Slash. He spun in a circle and slashed at Wang Yu. Urtus was a silver boss that was above level 35. How could he survive after being slashed by his ultimate skill? Wang Yu jumped back again. At the same time, he released a psychic wave towards the ground. The impact of the psychic wave and Wang Yu's own jumping force allowed him to jump far away. He jumped out of Urtus' attack range. After a few more rounds, Urtus slowed down as well. As expected of a humanoid boss, if this was manual mode, it would be very difficult to deal with, Wang Yu muttered. He took advantage of the cooldown of Urtus' Whirlwind Slash and threw a punch. In the dense forest outside of Yuhuiqing, a team of more than 10 people was killing goblins as they walked in the direction of Sunset Valley. "Anran, is your information reliable or not? We've walked so far. Why haven't we found the boss yet?" A warrior asked the bandit beside him as he swung his greatsword. The rogue called Shady immediately said, "Guang bro, we'll reach the canyon after passing through the forest. I've been here in stealth during the closed beta. I've seen Pointing Sword in the heavens fighting that boss." The warrior frowned and said, "Don't lie to me." The bandit quickly waved his hands and said, I wouldn't dare lie to you." At that moment, a sharpshooter at the front suddenly shouted, "Light brother, there's a canyon ahead." Sharpshooters had a passive skill called Eagle Eyes, which allowed them to see further than other professions. Everyone was excited when they heard this. "Do you see the boss?" "Let me see," the sharpshooter said and used Eagle Eyes to look into the canyon again. "I see the boss." "No, what's that? What's going on?" Everyone asked curiously when they heard the sharpshooter's words. The sharpshooter said dejectedly, It seems like someone is killing the boss." "Oh." Light brother was stunned at first. Then he said, "Are there many people? If not, we'll snatch it now. If there are many, we'll let the boss wear them down and then snatch it later." On the other hand, a Grandmaster of Combat had thin skin, low HP, and low attack. They didn't have any other advantages except for their handsome appearance. They were so eye-catching that it was difficult to ambush them. Even so, they had to sneak up to the boss and use their skills. Think about it, what else could happen to a Grandmaster of Combat in this situation other than death? Because of this, a Grandmaster of Combat that didn't have any equipment proficiency was even more useless and despised by others. However, there was another side to everything. If the target was suppressed by a Grandmaster of Combat within a certain distance, other than those of the same class, it would be difficult for other classes to fight back. After all, weapons couldn't be retracted. Even if a Grandmaster of Combat was close to them, they couldn't stab themselves with their weapons. Therefore, the word cut in became a necessary word for Grandmasters of Combat. XX class, why are you pretending? If I cut in front of you, I don't care if you're a god of war or a god of magic, you won't be able to fight back. This was a common sentence used by Grandmasters of Combat on the forum. Of course, the word if was enough to show that this was only the imagination of Grandmasters of Combat. If Grandmasters of Combat really wanted to cut in, they would have to overcome the awkwardness of being killed instantly with their first hand and low HP. It was a pity that the Grandmasters of Combat in Rebirth, who had never given up on their dreams, missed out on Wang Yu's textbook-like demonstration of cutting in. In the trajectory of Erdis's unavoidable skill, he used a knee strike to forcefully interrupt the skill. After the skill was released, the moment he let go, he followed up with a side kick, causing the target to be knocked into the air and stunned. Then, he followed up with a series of vital points attack. Wang Yu didn't use the martial arts techniques in real life. He only used the skills in the game to completely suppress Erdis. He didn't even have a chance to fight back. Roar. Erdis, who had been punched by Wang Yu, let out a deafening roar. His body emitted the golden glow of the Overlord Constitution. Wang Yu knew that the system was going to go back on its word. After a collapsing fist, his body leaped backward. At the same time, he released a psychic wave which hit Erdis. With the recoil from the psychic wave, Wang Yu jumped out of the attack range of Erdis's whirlwind slash. This time, Wang Yu's cut-in attack was a total of 10 times, causing Erdis to lose more than 10,000 HP. What surprised Wang Yu was that, on the 10th hit, there was an additional 1,000 damage. At this time, Light Brother and the others in the dense forest had also arrived at Sunset Canyon. When they saw Wang Yu fighting the boss alone, everyone was stunned. Light Brother said in shock, "He's really the same person. This kid has guts." The bandit named Dejected saw that Wang Yu was not only fighting the boss alone, but he was also fighting it methodically. He was shocked. "Light Brother, why don't we go back? This person is an expert." What if Dejected's worry was not without reason? During the closed beta, he had personally witnessed Erdis's strength. At that time, the 2 tanks in the front row of Sword of the Heavens were both equipped with level 15 iron heavy armor. However, they were almost wiped out by Erdis's charge and collapsing mountain combo. This Grandmaster of Combat had actually reduced the boss's HP by nearly 20%. If he had not seen such a terrifying figure with his own eyes, Dejected would not have believed it. Light Brother laughed in disdain. "Nonsense. So what if he's an expert? There are 16 of us. Can't we defeat him?" But Dejected also knew that this was a game. The system had attribute restrictions. No matter how strong a person was, he could not defeat 10,000 enemies. That being said, Dejected still felt a little worried. But what? There are many experts in the apocalypse. Do we have to be afraid of him? Look at you dilly-dallying like a woman. Bandits, go into stealth. Archers, watch the position. Tanks, protect the damage dealers and healers. We have to fight for the boss. Alright. Renran nodded and his figure turned into a shadow. The boss's skills had a cooldown period. Wang Yu was frustrated that he could not grab the opportunity to use combo grab again. TSK, did you see that? The others were afraid that the boss's skills would not be on cooldown. However, Wang Yu was hoping that the boss's skills would be off cooldown soon. If the game designers were to hear this, they would cry to death. Just as Wang Yu was looking at the gaps in Ertis's attacks, Wang Yu suddenly felt a dozen murderous auras locked onto him. The two closest to him were less than 20 meters away. Chapter 19. Ertis brandished his saber mechanically as though he didn't know what fatigue was. Wang Yu felt helpless as she fought. If this were in real life, she would have killed this blockhead countless times. In the game, he had suffered so many heavy blows to his vitals, but he was still as lively as ever. It was truly frustrating. Seeing Wang Yu and Ertis fighting each other, the people from Doomsday were dumbfounded. F***ck, the boss can be fought like this? Is this kid Superman? Light Brother said disdainfully, Superman my ass. He's just relying on his agility to grind. Can't you see that he's attacking the boss's undefended spots? When the two of us assassins go over, we'll each take a stab. We'll make sure he's dead. When that happens, the boss will be ours. As soon as Light Brother finished speaking, Wang Yu, who was fighting the boss, suddenly jumped back. He turned around and kicked the air. Haha, this kid is stupid. Light Brother swallowed the rest of his words before he could finish his sentence. Wang Yu's kick sent a figure flying horizontally. It was the assassin from Apocalypse World. The marksman from Apocalypse World could clearly see that the assassin still had a blank expression on his face. He seemed to be puzzled by Wang Yu's sudden jump back. The assassin's HP was lower than that of a Grandmaster of Combat. Wang Yu's kick had reduced his HP to nothing. Before the assassin could land, Wang Yu followed closely behind. He flew up and stepped on the assassin's head, turning the assassin into a white light. Clang, a blue dagger fell to the ground. At the same time, a system notification appeared. You have killed Apocalypse World's player, knife in 2 ribs. PK points +1. Light Brother also received a notification. Your teammate, knife in 2 ribs, has been killed by player, Iron Ox. You have 180 seconds to defend yourself. Killing enemies during this time will not increase your PK point. Everyone was stunned when they saw the notification. F***ck. It's actually Guru Iron Ox. No wonder you dared to solo the boss. Boss, can we do it? Light Brother said angrily. What's there to be afraid of? He's just one person. Not to mention Iron Ox. Even if it's the Golden Bull, we can still kill him. Wang Yu bent over and picked up the dagger dropped by knife in 2 ribs. He was pleasantly surprised. Wow, not bad. It's a silver-grade item. No wonder you dare to steal the boss. Nether Spear, Dagger, Silver, Attack, 27-31 Magic, 12-16 Nether Strike. Deals damage equal to attack power and agility x2. Nether. Passively increases stealth by 30%. Level requirement: 10. The Apocalypse was a big guild. Those who could fight for bosses with Light Brother were the elites of the elite. Their equipment was naturally the best in the game. In the World Apocalypse channel, everyone was still spamming. Damn it, Dao Z dropped his dagger. This unlucky guy is crying at the resurrection point. Speaking of which, how did he know knife was there? He knows anti-stealth? Holy shit. Depressing sorrow, run. Only then did Brother Guang react and shout in the team channel. Depressing sorrow, who was in stealth, immediately ran back. Assassins were a class with bonus agility. At level 10, they also had a quick movement skill. Wang Yu could not catch up. He took out a bag of lime and threw it at Depressing Sorrow. Throw a stone to test the waters. Duong. With a soft sound, the bag of lime hit the air. The next moment, a strange scene appeared. The bag of lime dispersed, and the white lime powder outlined a human silhouette in the air. An assassin's stealth skill would not be revealed unless they were forced to move or attack. At that moment, Depressing Sorrow's upper body was covered in lime powder and his lower body was empty. It was hard to tell if it was scary or funny. TSK, Little depressing sorrow's appearance is not bad. You can definitely scare people on the streets during the Qingming festival. The party members in the channel laughed at depressing sorrow without reservation. Light Brother held back his laughter and shouted, "Stop fooling around. Be serious. That kid is coming." Everyone looked up. Indeed, Wang Yu was running toward them. Behind her was Ertis, who was shouting loudly. "Long-range attacks. Don't let him come," Light Brother said. The party's 4 mages and 4 sharpshooters immediately took action. 4 arrows and 4 icicles were shot at Wang Yu. The arrows had a magical white light on them. It was a shameless skill of sharpshooters called homing arrow. It could chase after a target until it hit. Icicles was an ice mage skill. It did not have much damage, but it could slow down enemies. It was very disgusting. The speed of the arrows was much faster than the speed of the magic, and they were the first to reach Wang Yu. Wang Yu didn't even bat an eyelid as he casually grabbed all the arrows in his hand. F***CK. The sharpshooters were shocked. "You can do that?" While the sharpshooters were still in shock, Wang Yu threw the 4 arrows in his hand. Ding 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 ding. The 4 arrows hit the icicles. Icicles were spells that would automatically explode when they touched the target. Poof! The 4 icicles turned into a cloud of blue mist when they hit the arrows. F***CK. It was not just the sharpshooters. Everyone's eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. That's impossible. No one could believe what had just happened. Not to mention how difficult it was to catch flying arrows, it was unheard of to hit 4 moving targets with arrows at the same time. Although Grandmasters of Combat could use all kinds of weapons, the system was not shameless enough to modify the weapons of Grandmasters of Combat. Moreover, Wang Yu's move was clearly a hidden weapon skill. There was no such thing in Rebirth. Therefore, Wang Yu's move was completely based on his own ability. Even an Olympic champion would not be able to do that. Everyone was still dumbfounded. At this time, Wang Yu had already rushed in front of them with Ertis. As a warrior, Light Brother stood at the front and saw Wang Yu. When he saw the Tai Chi symbol on Wang Yu's chest, he shouted, "So you're a Chuanjian dog." Wang Yu ignored Light Brother. The corners of his mouth curled up into a sinister smile. Then, Wang Yu suddenly moved to the side, revealing Ertis behind him. Ertis sheathed his sword, lowered his head, and charged in one go. He plunged into the crowd of people from the apocalypse. Since Melancholy and Double Knife did not succeed in the beginning, the people from the apocalypse were still lying in ambush. They stood in a group, but did not form a formation. Ertis's sudden charge caused the tanks in the front row to be sent flying before they could even use their skills. The warriors had high HP, but they were heavily injured by a big boss like Ertis, not to mention the fragile ones behind them. The 2 mages standing at the front were hit into white light on the spot. Everyone was still in shock when Ertis's collapsing mountain landed in the crowd and he followed up with a whirlwind slash. Immediately, white light lit up around Ertis. The 16-man team from the apocalypse was wiped out in an instant. Melancholy had participated in the beta test and knew that Ertis had a fatal weakness. It was that his physical defense was very high, but his magic defense was very low. Therefore, if the battle really started, the people from the apocalypse were well equipped and had the ability to kill Ertis if they were commanded properly. However, they had never expected Wang Yu to make such a move. Before they could react, they had taken 3 of Ertis's skills head-on. Ertis was a boss above level 35. The consequences of being hit by his skills could be imagined. Wang Yu, who had borrowed a knife to kill, ran over immediately after the people from the apocalypse died. He said gloomily, Why didn't they drop any equipment? This boss luck is too low." You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.